The evening is gentle now. A small pool of lamplight steadies the room. You can feel the quiet weight of the air, and the way your shoulders soften when you notice it. If there is a warm drink in your hand, let the cup rest against your palm and give you its steady warmth. If there is a blanket, let it drape without a plan, just enough to tell the body it is allowed to loosen. The day can place its bags at the door. You do not need to unpack them right now. You have arrived. Before we go on, let me know where you're listening from. And if this brings you peace, please subscribe to Calm Buddha Path so more people can find it. Tonight is about your mind when it runs in circles. The mind that rehearses conversations that never happen. The mind that edits tomorrow 100 times before midnight. The mind that tries so hard to be a good guardian that it forgets to sleep. If this is you, dear friend, you are not broken. You are tuned for life. The same keen intelligence that solves problems at noon will try to solve the whole universe at night. It is not the enemy. It is simply overworking. There is a moment, usually after you lie down, when the body is ready for rest but the thoughts keep tapping the shoulder. They want certainty. They want to avoid discomfort. They want to resolve the fog of not knowing. In old language we might say the tangle is made of 3 familiar strands. The longing for what would finally complete the picture, the push against what is unpleasant, and the haze that makes everything feel confusing. Craving, aversion, and confusion. But we do not need the words tonight. We can feel the pattern. It is the tug to fix, the push to escape, and the ache of not seeing clearly. When these 3 show up after dark, they weave a net of thinking so tight that even simple breath forgets how to be easy. Let us agree on one kindness from the start. You do not have to fight your thinking. If you wrestle a thought, it stays. If you sit down beside it, often it yawns. We are practicing the art of sitting down beside what arises. The mind's job is to make weather. That is what it does. Your job is to feel the temperature and choose the right coat. Some nights need a light layer of attention. Some nights need a heavier blanket of compassion. Tonight we will let awareness be simple and friendly, like a neighbor who drops by without judgment and leaves you calmer than before. Slow your inhale just slightly, as if you were smelling rain through a window. Let the out-breath take a little more time, like a wave slipping back from the shore. Do not force anything. Let gravity be your helper. You are not performing. You are landing. Soft landing breath, 45 seconds. If it feels right, bring one hand to your chest and one hand to your lower belly. Feel which hand moves more with each breath. Let the lower one have a little more of the motion only if it comes easily. Allow the exhale to lengthen by a beat or 2, without any strain. If this becomes uncomfortable, release the hands and breathe however you like. You can pause anytime. When the mind races, it thinks it is saving you. It believes that one more round of analysis will finally close the loop. But thinking is a tool, and like any tool, it has settings. There is a setting for building a bookshelf. There is a setting for answering email. There is a setting for planning a trip. And there is a quiet setting for resting. Overthinking is just the drill stuck on high. We are not throwing away the drill. We are learning to click it to low. Imagine you are looking at a snow globe that has been shaken all day. The flakes are your thoughts, beautiful and busy. The globe sits on the nightstand. You do not have to hold it. You only place it down and watch. Without your hands stirring, the flakes settle. The scene at the center appears again, simple and clear. You did not force a single flake to fall. You simply stopped shaking. This is what your nervous system understands when you let the breath become slow and the shoulders heavy. You are telling the inner snow to drift down. There is an old teaching about a musician who played a stringed instrument. He complained that his practice was full of strain. The teacher asked how he tuned the strings. Too tight and they snapped. Too loose and they made no sound. Balanced, the music came alive. Overthinking is the string pulled too tight. Giving up is the string hanging slack. Tonight we are learning the middle tone. Not too tight, not too loose, just right for the lullaby of a human evening. Perhaps you felt a small wave of self-criticism today. Maybe you scrolled more than you wanted. Maybe you forgot a kindness you meant to do. The mind loves to replay these moments under a harsh lamp. We will change the lighting. We will switch the bulb to warm. We will stand the lamp farther from the scene until the edges soften. The purpose is not to excuse anything, but to see in a way that allows rest and wise next steps tomorrow. You cannot heal in a courtroom at midnight. You can heal in a quiet room that understands you are tired. If thoughts gather again now and start listing all the tasks, try this gentle move. Instead of arguing with the list, give it a safe shelf. Tell your mind with sincerity that the list can rest where you can find it in the morning. You might even picture a small wooden tray on your bedside table, and one by one you place each thought there. The mind does not like to be dismissed, but it can relax when it knows you will return. You are building trust with your own attention. Tray of thoughts, 60 seconds. If it feels comfortable, imagine a tray on the table beside you. See its color and shape. For the next minute, whenever a thought repeats, place it gently on the tray. You can whisper thank you to the thought for trying to help. If this visualization does not suit you, simply notice the thought and label it softly as planning, remembering, or worrying, then come back to the feeling of the breath. You can stop this practice whenever you like. Notice how the body appreciates any act of clarity. Shoulders know when to drop a few millimeters. The jaw remembers it can let go of the job of holding your day together. The stomach releases the idea that it must be a fist. Even the tongue can rest on the floor of the mouth, not pressed against the roof as if it were bracing for impact. With each small release, your inner weather warms. If, as you listen, sleepiness starts to arrive, that is welcome. You have permission to drift in and out, to catch only fragments, to miss whole stretches and wake later feeling soothed. Nothing important will be lost. Everything that is for you will find you again. The teachings are not fragile. They are like water. If you miss a cupful, there is still a river. Let us walk through a simple scene from the day and let it dissolve. You open your messages and see 3 different requests. You feel the pull to respond quickly, to be a good person, to keep the plate spinning. The chest tightens. The mind starts composing replies even while you are making dinner. In this moment, the energy is darting ahead of the body. It is a form of craving for control. You want it resolved so you can relax. Tonight, turn the sequence around. Relax first, resolve later. You remind yourself that responses written from a rested nervous system are clearer, kinder, and shorter. Your next inhale enters like a small tide. Your exhale leaves like a friend, closing the door softly behind them. The messages will still be there in the morning. Your inner life is here now. Some nights the overthinking hides inside caring. You worry because you love. You replay conversations because you want to do right by others. Let us honor that. Compassion is already in you. The trick is to direct a little of it back toward the one who is worrying. If you knew a child who could not stop checking the windows at night, you would not scold them. You would sit beside them, hand on the window latch, and say, "I am here." That is what your attention can do for your mind. Sit beside it. Hand on the latch. You are not promising that nothing difficult will happen. You are promising that you will not abandon yourself. Hand on the latch, 30 to 45 seconds. If it feels right, place one hand over the place in your body that feels the most stirred. Could be the chest, the throat, the belly, or even the forehead. Say quietly, "I am here with you." Let the breath be easy. If words are not helpful, hold the posture without words. If any part of this becomes uncomfortable, Release the hand and rest your arms at your sides. You may pause or stop whenever you like. The musician's string returns to mind. Balanced tone. Your life teaches you this each day. When you grip the steering wheel too tightly, your shoulders fatigue. When you hold it lightly on an open road, the car stays true and your breathing deepens. Thinking wants the wheel at night because it does not trust the straight road of rest. Show it the road. Show it the way the world keeps moving even when you do not supervise it. Somewhere waves are rolling onto a beach without a schedule. Somewhere leaves are turning their silver bellies to a breeze you did not order. Somewhere people you love are dreaming. Somewhere people you will never meet are also trying to sleep, also thinking too much, also learning to soften. You are part of a wider human evening. If there is an ache in you that seems larger than thought, an old sorrow or a recent shock, be as gentle as sunlight through curtains. You do not need to resolve it here. You only need to keep it company for a breath or two, the way you might sit with a friend on a porch without solving anything. The porch is the body. The friend is the feeling. The solution is the companionship itself. If at any point your system feels overwhelmed, return to something safe and simple in the room. The coolness of the glass by your bed, the texture of the sheet near your fingertips, the reliable shape of your pillow. Safety is allowed to be ordinary. Now, let us look softly at the belief that you must think your way into sleep. Sleep is not a puzzle. It is a tide. The tide comes when the shore is willing, when the rocks stop rearranging themselves and let the moon do its work. Your role is to be available. Thoughts slow when there is less urgent doing. So we let go of the performing mind and try on the welcoming mind. Welcome, breath. Welcome, quiet. Welcome, stray thought you can sit by the door. Welcome, heaviness at the back of the eyes. Welcome, yawn. Welcome, small emotions that wanted to be noticed before night. If your mind objects and says this is silly, thank it for its honesty. Skepticism is part of you that protects you from false comfort. But there is nothing to buy here. No belief to sign, only the experiment of kindness. We ask the body how it knows rest. We ask the breath what speed it prefers when no one is rushing it. We ask attention to soften its focus as if looking at stars slightly off-center. We treat the mind like a hard-working partner and give it a chair. There is a story about a woman who carried a heavy basket of worries on her head. She stopped by a river and met a friend. The friend invited her to set the basket down and sit. The woman refused. She said, "If I set it down, I might forget it, and then what kind of person would I be?" The friend smiled, lifted the basket, and placed it at the woman's feet. This way, the friend said, "You will remember where you left it, and you can rest your neck." The woman laughed for the first time in days. She did not solve the contents that afternoon. She simply learned she could stand up straight and feel the breeze on her face. Tonight, we place your basket beside you. Nothing is lost. You are simply remembering your neck. As your breath deepens, let your inner voice become kinder by a few degrees. Instead of "why can't I stop thinking," try "of course I am thinking. It has been a full day, and I am learning new ways." Instead of "I must sleep now or else," try "I am resting now, and that is already good." Rest is a good in itself. Prepares the ground. Even if sleep takes time, your body is gathering strength in this very minute. You do not need to perform rest either. You only need to notice the places where life is resting you. If you like, imagine a soft lamp inside the chest turning down notch by notch. With each notch, less commentary. With each notch, more room for the simple sensations that carry you. The stretch in the ribs as air enters. The gentle fall of the belly. The subtle warmth across the cheeks. The space behind the eyes. The weight of your legs. The points of contact that hold you up. These are the facts of the moment. Facts are friendly. Thoughts can borrow their steadiness. If the loop returns, do not be surprised. The mind will try again. We will meet it again. The path is not a straight line. It is a spiral with a center you can trust. Each time you return to the breath, to the tray, to the hand on the latch, you are training the mind in safety. You are teaching it to recognize the difference between real threats and anxious habits. Over time, nights become less like a courtroom and more like a quiet porch. On that porch, your life sits with you and learns your pace. There is a way your body wants to lie down tonight. There is a way your pillow wants to hold your head. There is a way your blanket wants to cover your knees. Allow these things to be simple. You do not need to optimize them. You only need to notice what already works. The hum of a fan. The distant sound of a city that is softer now. The rhythm of your own heart. Every rhythm in the room is a teacher of patience. You may feel the question rising, what if tomorrow is hard? That question belongs to the sun. You belong to the moon now. The moon is old and calm. It has watched oceans rise and fall long before your calendar was invented. Let it watch over you. If your mind insists on one last plan, give it a single note to hum. Not a complicated tune, just a hum. The body will hear it and rock gently. In a moment we will let the words thin out so that you can drift. But before that, trust this. You are capable of rest without solving everything first. Your worth is not tied to the cleverness of your plans. Your goodness is not measured by how perfectly you anticipate the needs of the world. You are a human being, allowed to be, allowed to breathe, allowed to sleep. If you wake later in the night, you can begin again. The path back to ease is shorter each time, like a trail you have walked enough to know by heart. Not too tight, not too loose, just right for tonight. Let the room be a harbor now. Let your body be the boat that has safely returned. The water is calm. The ropes are tied. You can step onto the dock of your own breath and feel it sturdy beneath you. The boat rocks a little, but not in a way that threatens. It rocks in a way that soothes. You are home for the night. The night air moves softly through a barely open window. A curtain lifts and settles like a hush. Somewhere outside, a distant sound fades, and your room takes on that gentle stillness that arrives when the world has retreated to its corners. Your body recognizes this quiet. The mattress supports you in all the right places. The cool edge of the sheet meets the warmth of your skin, and the contrast is pleasant. You do not have to meet the moment with any effort. You can let the moment meet you. There is a natural slowing that happens when we stop insisting. The muscles of the face release some secret job. The eyes, even if closed, feel less vigilant. The mind might still be busy, but the rest of you is already beginning to understand the invitation. You are in a room that does not need anything from you. Let that kindness reach your nervous system. Let it ripple through the chest and down the arms, down the spine and into the legs. Your breathing can take its time the way clouds take their time, unhurried and content to drift. Counting the bridge, 60 seconds. If it feels right, count your next breath out as 1. The breath in is simply in. The next breath out is 2. Continue up to 8 and then begin again at 1. If you lose the count, that is fine. Just return to 1 without any judgment. If counting feels uncomfortable or distracting, pause and breathe in your natural rhythm. You can stop anytime. Counting is not magic. It is a gentle bridge from the whirl of thinking to the steadiness of sensing. The mind often needs a small task so it can rest from its big ones. Like a child who stops fidgeting when given a simple bead to hold, attention calms when it has one clear thing to do. What we are practicing is the quiet art of giving your attention a soft landing. You are not turning off the mind. You are giving it somewhere kind to sit. Tonight, consider a different way to relate to your inner life. Imagine your awareness as a room with a soft light. Thoughts are guests who enter and leave by their own doors. Sensations are the furniture you can sit on. Feelings are the weather that sometimes drifts through, a breeze or a warm draft. You are the host of the room, not the guests, not the furniture, not the weather. When a guest becomes loud, you do not evict them with force. You lower your voice, pour them some tea, and let their energy settle in the presence of your steadiness. You felt it today when a message arrived and your heart seemed to speed without moving. You felt it when a memory raised a small storm in the stomach. Overthinking is most loyal to these moments. It rushes in with plans and counterplans, with rehearsals and rebuttals. It tries to build a bridge over every puddle. But many puddles dry on their own if the sun is given room to work. Your soft attention is that sun. It is not aggressive. It does not force. It allows the natural warmth of being alive to do some of the healing for you. There is a classic teaching told in simple language. A person in the woods is struck by an arrow. It hurts. Then the mind shoots a second arrow. Why did this happen? Who is to blame? What will this mean tomorrow? How could I have prevented it? What if it happens again? The first arrow is pain. The second arrow is the extra wound of our resistance and overanalysis. In a human life, first arrows are inevitable. Second arrows are optional, though it may not feel that way at first. We practice to see the second arrow sooner, to put down the bow, to care for the first wound and not keep reopening it. Second arrow check, 45 seconds. If it feels helpful, bring to mind one small worry from today. Notice the basic sensation it creates in the body. Is it pressure, heat, tightness, flutter? Stay with the sensation for a few breaths. Then notice the thoughts that try to pile on top of it. Gently ask, is this the first arrow or the second? If it seems like a second arrow, imagine setting it aside on the nightstand for now. If this feels uncomfortable, release the practice and rest with your breathing. You may pause any time. This is not the same as avoiding life. It is the skill of timing. You are choosing to meet what is here with appropriate care, and to meet what is not here with patience. The late-night courtroom, with its harsh lights and cross-examinations, is closing for the evening. In its place, a small porch light is on. You sit with what's real and immediate. The contact of back against mattress, the slow shift of ribs, the barely there pulse at the base of the thumb. The porch light says, just this for now. Sometimes the mind resists this simplicity because it believes that thinking equals safety. It might say, if I stop turning it over, I will forget something important. You can answer with kindness. I am not abandoning you, you can say. I am changing the time and the place. The mind understands schedules. It appreciates containers. You can give it one. Tomorrow basket, 30 to 60 seconds. If it feels right, choose a time in the morning when you tend to be clear. Picture a small notebook waiting for you there. Whisper to your mind that anything important can go into that notebook when the sun is up. Place one worry into that future page. See it written, neat and waiting. If this does not suit you, simply rest the eyes and feel the next 3 gentle exhalations. You can stop anytime. Notice how your body responds when the mind believes it has been heard. The shoulders no longer lean forward into tomorrow. The breath lengthens without your command. The stomach unclenches a little, as if someone has loosened a belt by one notch. Even the hands, which hold invisible tools all day, spread and soften. This is your biology recognizing a friendlier atmosphere. We are not forcing calm. We are creating the conditions for calm. You may recall a moment today when overthinking piggybacked on kindness. Perhaps you replayed a conversation with someone you care for because you wanted to get it right next time. This is understandable. The intention is love. The habit is strain. We meet both with gentleness. You might say inside, I care and I can rest. The two are not enemies. Caring may even be more skillful after rest has reset your tone. Fatigue makes us sharp in the wrong places. Rest rounds the edges. In the dim glow of your room, consider the breath as a tide moving in a small cove. Each time it retreats, it leaves the sand a little smoother. Each time it returns, it brings a fresh wash of ease. You do not command the sea. You only keep the cove open. If your mind wishes to judge this, let it. Judgments are just thoughts wearing a robe. They cannot sentence you to anything tonight. They can only pass by like clouds, like boats beyond your cove. 4 corners of rest, 45 seconds. If it feels helpful, place your attention on 4 points of contact, one after another. Feel the weight where your head meets the pillow. Feel the contact of shoulders or upper back. Feel the heaviness of hips against the mattress. Feel the length and warmth in the legs, the weight at the heels. Move through these 4 corners twice at your own pace. If any point is uncomfortable, skip it and choose another place that feels safe. You can pause anytime. As your attention moves through the body, notice how the mind becomes just one part of the whole instead of the whole story. This is one of the quiet powers of embodiment. The sense that you are bigger than any single thought, that you have volume and depth, that you exist in 3 dimensions and do not have to live in a flat picture pressed to your forehead. Overthinking flattens the world. Sensation rounds it out again. Perhaps you scrolled tonight and felt the tug to keep going, to find the one last thing that will settle you. Overthinking often rides the wave of endless novelty. It is not an indictment of you. It is how our attention is trained by modern streams. The counter-move is not harshness, but the sweetness of enough. You can say, enough for now, and set the device aside like you would a book you want to enjoy tomorrow too. Enough is a soft boundary. It holds without squeezing. There is another story, a small one about the Buddha walking through a village after rain. The ground was muddy, and a farmer, harried and angry, shouted at him for getting in the way. The Buddha did not argue or explain. He stepped aside and kept walking. Later, when the farmer's mood lifted, he apologized. The teaching is not about being above emotion. It is about not carrying what does not have to be carried. In our nights, the farmer can be our own mind. We do not need to debate every shout. We can step aside and continue on the path of rest. Stepping aside, 30 seconds. If it feels right, when a loud thought arrives, imagine stepping half a step to the side and letting it pass where you were standing. Feel your breath continue, steady and kind. If the image is not helpful, just notice the thoughts beginning, middle, and end as if watching a small ripple on a pond. If any of this feels like too much, release it and return to the comfort of the room. You can stop at any point. You may wonder, will I lose my edge if I rest this way? The mind fears dullness. But rest is not the absence of sharpness. It is the sheath that protects the blade when it is not needed. In the morning, tools that have been cared for work better. Your clarity is not threatened by sleep. It is shaped by it. A musician who tunes quietly in the afternoon plays more beautifully at night. You are tuning now. If grief or worry is close, it can feel like a tide rising. Remember that you do not have to stand in the deepest part of the water. You can sit at the shoreline and let the foam touch your feet. You can feel enough to be honest without letting the wave pull you under. Honesty is not the same as drowning. When things feel big, shrink the task. Feel 1 square inch of sensation. Listen to 1 sound in the room. Take 1 easy breath and let the exhale lengthen on its own by a heartbeat or 2. Your system knows how to settle in increments. You might replay a mistake from earlier, hearing again the tone of your voice or the line in someone's brow. The urge to fix every past moment is another form of craving, reaching for a perfect version of you that no one needs. What people need is your real presence, and presence grows in the soil of self-forgiveness. Let your self-talk soften by a small percentage. I missed that and I can learn, you might say. Then, like a gardener who waters the soil and trusts the seeds, you turn back to this breath, this body, this night. There is an art to ending a day. The body prefers a landing pattern, not a sudden drop. Notice your personal cues for descent. Perhaps it is the way your hands grow warmer. Perhaps it is the way your eyelids feel pleasantly heavy. Perhaps it is the small yawn that arrives without fanfare. You can greet these cues like you would greet a friend arriving at your door with a blanket and a quiet smile. Welcome, you say inside. I have been saving a place for you. Resting hands, 30 to 45 seconds. If it feels good, turn your palms downward wherever they rest. Notice how this small gesture signals the body that it can let go of grasping. Feel the difference for a few breaths. If palms down is not comfortable, try palms up and rest in the sense of receiving support from the air. If neither feels right, skip the gesture and simply notice the gentle rhythm of your breathing. You may pause anytime. When the loop returns, as it likely will, respond as you would to a neighbor who knocks twice by mistake. You open the door with patience, you say we already spoke, and you close it kindly. You do not barricade your home. You do not invite chaos in. You maintain a soft boundary that is strong precisely because it is kind. This is the middle tone again, the string tuned to true. Not too tight, not too loose. Enough music to carry you into the next chapter of night. Hold identity lightly as you lie here. You are not the role you played today. You are not the username, the title, the to-do list. You are a living field of experience that knows itself. Thoughts appear in you like birds crossing a patch of sky. You do not have to chase or cage them. If a helpful bird perches in the morning, you can greet it then. For now, you are sky. You are the generosity that holds it all. You might feel the relief of not having to be interesting or impressive. There is liberation in being ordinary on purpose. Ordinary is where the deep rest lives. It lives in the way the sheet cools when you turn it over. It lives in the way the breath adapts when you sigh. It lives in the way the body knows to nestle into the exact shape of the mattress as if they were made for each other. Let ordinary be a sanctuary. In this late hour, let a single, simple phrase accompany you like a lantern turned low. I am safe enough to rest. Not absolute safety, not the guarantee of a perfect tomorrow, just safe enough for this minute. The nervous system works in increments. Safe enough for this minute becomes safe enough for the next. Eventually, the minutes link into a quiet hour, and the hour turns gently toward sleep. If you wake later and the mind races, do not treat that as failure. It is only another visit from a familiar guest. Begin where you are. Feel one place in the body that is undeniably here. Choose one small practice and do it lightly, counting the bridge for corners of rest. Second arrow check. Or perhaps nothing structured at all, just an easy return to the sensation of air moving in and out, the soft lift and fall that has carried you through every day you have ever lived. For now, trust the room to hold you. Trust the bed to remember your shape. Trust the quiet to be enough. You are learning a different friendship with your mind, and friendship always deepens in unhurried conversations at night. Say goodnight to the day the way you would to someone you love. Tell it you will see it in the morning and that you are grateful for what was learned. Then let your attention float like a leaf on a slow stream. The water will do the carrying. You only need to rest. Rain taps lightly on a window somewhere to your left. The sound feels friendly, as if the night itself were speaking softly to the glass. A small fan hums in the corner with a steady patience, and the air is cool where it brushes your cheek. The world beyond your room is blurred by darkness and water, and here inside, shapes soften and edges round. Your body knows this language. Your spine settles into the familiar curve that means safe enough. The covers remember your outline and welcome you back. You are allowed to arrive again, a little more fully each breath. When the mind is busy, it tries to do your whole life from the pillow. It wants to settle the accounts of the day and predict the winds of tomorrow. Thinking has carried so much for you that it sometimes forgets there are other forms of knowing. Tonight we lean into a quieter knowing, not the kind that argues cases, but the kind that watches the moon cross a window pane and understands without words that time is passing and you are held within it. Clarity need not be loud. Often it is the hush that appears when you stop trying to force the door. Overthinking is a habit of speed and pressure. Clear seeing is a quality of space. One crowds the room with debates and exhibits. The other opens a window and lets the air move. Our practice tonight is not to banish thought, but to make more room inside the room of attention. When there is more room, thoughts do not need to shout to be heard, and they are content to sit on a quiet bench until morning. Name the mode. 30 seconds. If it feels right, notice what mode your mind is in just now. Is it solving, protecting, rehearsing, remembering, judging, or wandering? Choose a simple word. Whisper it inside once. Then feel the breath return to the body without trying to fix the mode. If naming feels irritating, release it and rest in the sound of rain. You can pause anytime. There is a difference between a problem and a presence. Problems ask for lists. Presence asks for listening. When you lie down, most of what presses for attention is not a problem in this minute. It is a presence asking to be acknowledged. Anxiety is present. Tenderness is present. The urge to perfect is present. You do not need to chase these presences. You only meet them with the touch of your awareness and let breath do its subtle work. Presence changes under kind observation the way mist thins when the morning grows brighter. You might think, if I let go of the plan, I'll miss something important. But notice the quiet intelligence of your body when you stop supervising every second. Heartbeat finds its own rhythm. Digestive muscles keep their agreements. The breath is a tiny tide that rises and falls without administration. This is not laziness. It is the humility of living systems. Your inner life wants to cooperate with rest the way fields want to drink rain. Sometimes the mind tells stories about others in order to feel safer. The email with a short reply becomes proof of trouble. The pause in a chat becomes an indictment. The human brain is an expert at filling gaps with worry. Tonight, we remove the mortar from those gaps and let possibility breathe. An old practice whispers maybe into certainty's rigid door. Maybe practice 45 seconds. If it feels helpful, bring to mind one unsettled story from today. Offer it 3 soft maybes. Maybe there is more context. Maybe I will see it differently in the morning. Maybe this does not require action tonight. If any of these feel untrue, do not force them. Choose a different soft phrase or return to the breath and the room. You can stop anytime. There is a small parable about fullness that we can rest inside. A student visited a wise person, eager to learn. They spoke of their ideas at such speed that there was no pause left in the air. The wise one poured tea. The cup filled, then brimmed, then spilled into the saucer and over the table. The student protested. The wise one smiled and set down the pot. A full cup cannot receive. It is simple without magic. At night, our minds are often like that cup. The act of resting is not throwing the cup away. It is gently pouring a little back into the pot so there is room for warmth in the morning. You are not failing by emptying a little. You are preparing. Overthinking loves tight focus, presses its nose to the page. Clear seeing steps back enough to take in the margin and the white space. One way we give ourselves that step back is by softening the eyes, even if the lids are closed. It is remarkable how the eye's tension tethers the mind. Softer eyes, softer mind, 30 to 45 seconds. If it feels right, imagine your eyes resting like 2 leaves floating on a still pond. The muscles around them loosen by a small degree. The brow smooths a fraction. Notice how this softening changes the quality of your next breath. If this image doesn't serve you, simply let the gaze, even behind closed lids, become less pointed and more diffuse. If any part of this feels uneasy, release it and rest the eyes as they are. You can pause anytime. You may discover that softening the eyes loosens the jaw, and the jaw's release sends a signal down the neck and into the chest. The body is a chorus. When one voice quiets, the others hear the cue. Overthinking treats the body like an audience. Clear-seeing rehires it as a collaborator. Invite your shoulder blades to sink toward the bed like stones settling at the bottom of a river. Let the arms be the river itself, flowing without effort. Pillow of the back body, 45 seconds. If it feels helpful, place your attention along the back of the body, from the back of the head to the heels. Imagine the whole back body becoming a single spacious cushion that the front of the body can rest upon. Feel how the breath subtly expands the back ribs. If this is uncomfortable, let it go and simply feel one place where gravity meets you with kindness. You can stop anytime. During the day, a few moments likely triggered the habit of the second arrow, adding commentary to a basic feeling. Perhaps a colleague's silence pricked your chest. The first arrow was the prick. The second arrow was the spiral of meaning you constructed. In the quiet of night, we can practice meeting first arrows without summoning their older sibling. Clear-seeing asks, what is here right now? It favors the exactness of sensation over the drama of interpretation. Heat in the cheeks, tightness at the throat, a swirl below the ribs. These are honest and require gentle space, not a courtroom. The small, practical tools you're cultivating are like spare keys hidden in familiar places. When the mind locks a door, you do not have to break a window. You reach under the mat of breath, behind the flowerpot of the senses, or inside the mailbox of a kind phrase. The door opens. Feather on water, 60 seconds. If it feels right, picture your next exhale as a feather touching the surface of a quiet lake. Notice the ripple it makes, circles widening and fading without rush. Breathe in as if the air were lifting the feather an inch. If the image feels silly or forced, release it and listen to the soundscape of your room for 3 breaths. You can pause anytime. Some nights the protector in you insists on holding the entire world up by the shoulders. This protector is noble and tired. You can talk to it the way you would talk to a friend whose hands are cramping around a heavy box. Let me take one side, you might say, or let's set it down for a minute. There is no betrayal here. You are not dropping the task of love. You are adjusting your grip so you can carry tomorrow with steadier hands. The mind fears that if you loosen control, chaos will enter. But consider this. When you stop stirring the pot, the soup continues to simmer just fine. The flavors mingle on their own. Life is like that more often than it is not. Children wander toward sleep when the room is calm. Projects continue through the night without your oversight. The earth keeps rotating. The rain keeps falling. You are part of a larger rhythm that does not require rehearsal. If a difficult memory comes now like a visitor with wet shoes, lay down a small rug at the door of your attention. Let the visitor stand there. Offer a towel. You do not have to invite them into every room. Boundaries can be tender. The rug is breath. The towel is naming what is present. The closed doors are the practices you know help you rest. Kindness does not mean letting the whole house flood. It means staying humane even as you guard the quiet. You may notice the craving strand appearing as the urge for one more scroll, one more article, one more check. The aversion strand may appear as pushing away fatigue with caffeine or argument. Confusion shows up as fog, that feeling of floating just above yourself, uncertain which thing to pick up first. Tonight, when you spot any of these 3, you can bow to them the way you might bow to familiar neighbors. You do not have to invite them in for conversation. A bow can be enough. Bow to the 30 seconds. If it feels helpful when you notice craving, aversion, or confusion, bow to the sensation of it with a tiny nod or even an inner thank you for the signal. Then return to the feeling of your body resting. If bowing seems strange, simply name the strand once and come back to sensation. You can stop anytime. There is another story about a crossing. Travelers came to a wide river without a bridge. They gathered reeds and branches and built a raft, carried them safely to the other bank. Once on solid ground, they faced a choice: carry the raft through the forest forever, or lay it down with gratitude and walk on. Overthinking is often the raft we are dragging long after the crossing. It served a purpose in a storm of life. It helped you survive hard seasons. But on tonight's shore, you do not need to carry it. You can set it near the water with thanks and keep your hands free for rest. Hands free, 45 seconds. If it feels right, imagine setting down an old useful raft beside you. Feel your hands unclasp. Notice the subtle release in your forearms and shoulders. Breathe as if the inhale were opening the palms and the exhale were emptying them. If this does not land, simply rest your hands wherever they are and feel their warmth. You can stop anytime. Everyday life is fertile ground for these small shifts. Picture a common scene. You are washing dishes after dinner, mind replaying a conversation from work. The water is warm, the plate is smooth, but you are barely in the kitchen. You are in a courtroom again or an audition. Try a different sequence. Feel the warmth on your fingers. Hear the small clink as porcelain meets porcelain. Let your shoulders drop a centimeter. If a useful insight arrives, it will wait. If it doesn't, you still end with clean plates and a quieter nervous system. Ordinary life becomes practice, not as an escape from responsibility, but as a way to carry it sanely. Or imagine you are in traffic, red lights spaced like commas. The mind wants to sprint grammatically to the period. It writes speeches for later, critiques your day. What if, at the third red light, you lean your head back and take one slower exhale than usual? Not a trick, not a performance. A reminder that you are a body in a car, not a mind floating 3 miles ahead. One slow exhale changes the chemistry of the minute. Then the light turns. You go. Nothing heroic, everything humane. Window of enough, 60 seconds. If it feels helpful, choose a small rectangle in your room, a real window, a picture frame, even the outline of your phone turned face down. For a minute, let that rectangle be the amount of world you are responsible for. Let everything outside it belong to the night. If this feels constricting, widen the rectangle or release the practice and rest with the sound of rain. You can pause anytime. Identity softens at night. You are less your roles and more your being. There is relief in that. The one who has to decide and perform can step aside, and the quiet keeper of breath can take the watch. When identity loosens, blame and pride loosen with it. Overthinking feeds on both: how to avoid blame, how to secure pride. Presence is satisfied with the warmth of a blanket and the rhythm of lungs. You are not erasing yourself. You are seeing the larger canvas you're painted on. If you are parenting, you know the way a child relaxes when an adult's tone lowers and slows. Use that tone with yourself. Speak inwardly in a voice that would guide a child toward bed. A voice with no sharp corners. You might say, "You've done enough for today. Let the rest be learned in the morning." Or "Rest first, solve later." This is not childish. It is profound parenting of the mind. Sometimes we need a different anchor than breath. Sound can be that anchor, arriving without effort. Let the ear be a kind gatekeeper. It does not need to catalog everything. It only receives and lets go. Sound bathing, 45 seconds. If it feels right, place your attention on the easiest sound to hear. It might be rain, the fan, a distant car. Let the sound arrive and fade without you reaching for it. When the mind inserts a story, smile inwardly and return to the sound. If the room is very quiet, listen for the softest sound of all, the hush beneath everything. If this is not pleasant, release it and return to the comfort of the body. You can stop anytime. What we are doing gently and without drama is turning down the inner volume on prediction and turning up the volume on contact. Contact with pillow, with breath, with sound, with gravity. Prediction can sleep. It has had a long day. Contact is the lullaby. If grief or fear surfaces like a wave, remember you can shrink your attention to a safe scale. You do not have to feel the whole ocean. Feel one breath's worth of ocean, the way a seashell offers only a thin whisper of the sea. Serenity is pieced together from workable moments. Workable moments are built from sensations that are here now and can be held now. There will be nights when none of this feels easy. That is not failure. That is weather. On stormy nights, you anchor. On calm nights, you drift. On nights like this, with gentle rain and a faithful fan, you may find a gap opening in the weave of thoughts. Step through that gap the way you step from a noisy room into a hallway where your shoulders drop without you telling them to. The hallway is simple. Breath, weight, sound, the feeling of being supported. As you lie here, let the words grow less necessary. Let meaning take a softer shape, more like mist than like a carved sign. If a thought insists, treat it like a bird tapping the window. Nod to it and let it fly on. If a helpful idea lands, thank it and promise to meet it in daylight. Trust the promise and then trust your ability to forget and remember again as humans do. The path to rest is not a straight line. It is a friendly loop returning to the same clearing. Not too tight, not too loose. In a moment, you might try sleeping, or you may simply continue resting with the soft rhythm of rain. Either way, you are practicing a new relationship with your mind, one that does not demand a flawless performance before you are allowed to rest. You are learning to pour a little tea back into the pot, to set down the raft, to widen the room of attention until the furniture and guests and weather all have space to be present without taking over. Let the night keep you. Let gravity keep you. Let breath keep you. If the mind knocks, you know the path to the porch. You know the chair where you can sit with a feeling without feeding it. You know the small keys under the mat. You are not locked out of rest. You are home, and the lights are warm, and the bed has always known your name. Moonlight washes a pale path across the floor, and your pillow holds a cool pocket where your cheek settles. From somewhere nearby, a refrigerator hums like a distant lullaby, and the room has that gentle nighttime smell of cotton and quiet. Your body knows the shape of this bed. It remembers the way the mattress yields and the way the blanket tucks under the weight of your calves. Nothing urgent asks for you now. You are safe enough to soften. When evenings arrive, your mind often keeps its daytime shoes on. It tries to walk the house of your life, inspecting every shelf. It means well. It wants to catch the things that might fall. But night has a different work. Night is when the body tidies in its own way. Quiet adjustments, small repairs, a reweaving you cannot see. Overthinking steps in with a clipboard. Your task is kind and simple. Show the clipboard where to rest. The body will handle the rest of the shift. Ribbon breath, 45 seconds. If it feels right, imagine the inhale as a small ribbon being drawn gently in through the nose, and the exhale as that ribbon flowing silk smooth back out. Let the exhale be a touch longer than the inhale, only if it comes naturally. If you feel any strain, let the ribbon image go and breathe however you like. You can pause anytime. Everyday life offers dozens of quiet places to practice this loosening so that nights become easier. Think of your inbox. You open it and the mind starts counting, ranking, forecasting. Without noticing, your shoulders creep toward your ears. Overthinking loves email because it invites perfection and immediate answers. Clear seeing suggests a different rhythm. One note at a time, one human voice at a time, and between each reply, a single slow breath that returns you to a body seated in a chair, supported by gravity, not floating in a storm. Single note pause, 30 to 45 seconds. If it feels helpful, picture one message from today. Before imagining your reply, feel the weight of your body where it meets the seat or mattress. Let a longer exhale visit, then imagine yourself writing only the simplest, truest first line. You can stop or change the image whenever you like. If this feels uncomfortable, release the practice and relax into whatever sensation is most soothing right now. You might carry this into meetings or conversations too. When another person speaks, overthinking tries to leap ahead and craft the next sentence. It is a protective habit. But you can let their words land before you build your bridge. You can let silence do some work. Silence is not empty. It is full of permission. In that gap, your breath finds you. In that gap, your nervous system is more likely to choose a kind tone and a clear phrase. Presence is not slower than intelligence. It is the way intelligence travels safely. At home, perhaps during bedtime with a child, you know how quickly a small storm can rise. Voices get tight. The mind tries to control the scene. One soft move changes the weather. You lower your own volume first. You lengthen one exhale. You model what you want to feel. Children borrow the cadence around them. So does your mind. It borrows the cadence you set. Lower the volume 30 seconds. If it feels right, imagine a small dial on your inner voice. Turn it down one notch. Speak to yourself in that lowered tone for 3 breaths. If imagining the dial is irritating, let the idea go and simply rest with the contact of your back or side against the bed. You can stop anytime. There is a simple story told in many forms. 2 monks walked along a road and came to a river after rain. A woman stood there, unable to cross. One monk carried her over and set her gently on the other side. The monks continued walking in silence. Hours later, the other finally burst out, "We're not supposed to touch people like that. How could you?" The first monk smiled softly. "I set her down at the river," he said. "You are still carrying her. At night, you might notice what you are still carrying. Conversations finished hours ago. Small mistakes, unfinished tasks. The act of setting them down is not denial. It is choosing the right place and time to carry. The bed is not the riverbank. It is the field beyond it. Set it down 45 seconds. If it feels helpful, picture one small scene you are still carrying. See it clearly for a breath or two. Then, with an inner nod, place it beside the river and imagine your feet stepping onto a dry path. Feel the difference in your shoulders. If the image becomes heavy, release it immediately and return to the gentleness of the room. You may pause or stop whenever you like. The 3 old strands, craving, aversion, and confusion, often hide inside helpful intentions. Craving arrives as the urge to perfect a message, to polish every sentence until it cannot be misunderstood. Aversion arrives as the push against fatigue, the resistance to feeling tender or uncertain. Confusion arrives as fog, a dullness that makes every choice feel like wading through syrup. Naming these strands kindly loosens their grip. You can say, "Oh, craving is here, wanting to make this perfect. Thank you for protecting me. Let's rest first." Or, "Aversion is here, pushing away the ache. Let's feel a thimbleful and then breathe." You are building a friendly vocabulary with yourself. Label and lull, 30 to 60 seconds. If it feels right, when a thought loops, label the loop with one word. Planning, protecting, perfecting, then give yourself a slow exhale as a lullaby. If labeling feels sharp or judgmental, skip the word and simply soften the exhale. You can stop anytime. Sometimes the body tells you more quickly than thought which way to go. During the day, notice the small yes and small no that live below the collarbones. A small yes warms and spreads. A small no tightens and pulls back. Overthinking overrides these signals with arguments. Clear seeing listens to the whisper. Body compass, 60 seconds. If it feels helpful, recall one tiny decision from today: tea or coffee, call now or later. Remember what your chest or belly did as you leaned toward one or the other. Feel a hint of that sensation again. If this stirs discomfort, release the practice and rest with the breath. You can pause anytime. You do not need to consult the body for big life choices in the middle of the night. That is not the point. The point is to rebuild trust in the signals that let you move through the day with less friction so the nights have fewer knots to untie. Each time you honored a small yes or small no today, you built a path toward ease. If you missed it, you are human. The path will still be there tomorrow. Consider also the way attention scatters when a screen promises 100 doors. Overthinking loves to peek through each one. Clear seeing picks one door, enters fully, and leaves when the room has given what it can. In the evening, you might choose a single simple activity to finish your day. The sink cleared, the light switched off, the window cracked for air. Not a ritual you must perform, but a friendly pattern that whispers to the nervous system, we are landing. Small landing, 45 seconds. If it feels right, imagine performing one easy action in slow, kind motion. Folding a blanket's corner, closing a book, dimming a lamp. Feel the breath time itself to the movement. If imagining action makes you restless, release it and rest with stillness. You can stop anytime. You have likely noticed how your jaw tries to solve your life. It clenches with concentration, as if chewing could digest the day. The jaw is loyal, but it is tired. When you loosen it by just a fraction, signals ripple down the neck and into the chest. The breath finds a softer gait. Unclench invitation, 30 to 45 seconds. If it feels helpful, let the tongue rest on the floor of the mouth and allow the back teeth to part a little. Notice any small shift in the throat or breath. If this is uncomfortable, let the mouth close and rest naturally. You can pause anytime. During the day, practice meeting small frictions with an exhale first. The child spills water. Exhale first. A colleague sends a sharp reply. Exhale first. The traffic stalls. Exhale first. This is not about suppressing feeling. It is about giving feeling a soft container so it does not flood your whole system. The habit of the exhale becomes a string you can find in the dark. Pull it and the room lights in a humane way. When worry about the future tries to stage a late-night meeting, give it a tiny office with morning hours. You are not ignoring it. You are scheduling it with respect. If the worry truly matters, it will still matter at 9. If it is a passing weather pattern, it will likely have moved on, and you will be glad you did not reorganize your life under a cloud. Morning office, 60 seconds. If it feels right, picture a small notebook waiting on a table in daylight. Whisper to your mind that you will meet it there. Imagine writing a single title on the top of the first page. Just the subject, not the solutions. If this calms you, place the notebook gently on the table in your mind and close the door. If this stirs anxiety, release the image and return to the contact points of your body. You may stop anytime. There is another helpful reframing. Tasks are not a swarm. They are a bunch of grapes. You cannot eat them all at once. You pick one, taste it fully, and set the rest back on the vine. Overthinking tries to stuff the whole bunch into your mouth. Presence respects the shape of human time. When you treat tasks like grapes, the day stops feeling like an indictment and starts feeling like a garden you tend. One grape now, 45 to 60 seconds. If it feels helpful, call to mind one small piece of tomorrow. Imagine doing just that piece with a friendly pace. Feel how your shoulders respond to the narrower focus. If this feels unhelpful, release the image and return to the breath as your only task for now. You can pause anytime. At night, identity can soften the way a sweater softens after many wearings. You are not the sum of other people's appraisals. You are not your schedule. You are a person breathing in a quiet room. The mind will try to reattach labels. It is how it navigates. You do not have to rip the labels off. You only let them loosen at the corners, curling up a bit as the hours grow gentle. When shame or self-judgment arrives, offer it a seat and a blanket. It is often trying to protect you from repeating pain. You can appreciate its intention while declining its method. Instead of a harsh review, give yourself the speech you would give a friend who tried. You might say, "I see the effort you made. Rest and we will try again with clearer eyes." This is not indulgence. It is maintenance. Kind rehearsal, 45 seconds. If it feels right, pick one moment from today you'd like to handle differently. With soft breath, rehearse a gentler line or a kinder tone once. Then let it go. You are not carving anything in stone. If this feels activating, stop immediately and return to feeling supported by the bed. You can pause anytime. There will be evenings when sorrow is present. Not as a thought, but as weight, as heat, as a tug behind the sternum. Overthinking wants to translate that weight into stories, into forecasts or blame. Clear seeing allows a measured amount of companionship. You sit with the feeling on the porch of your body. You both look out at the night. You do not make promises. You offer presence. Presence is what sorrow has wanted most. Porch sitting, 60 seconds. If it feels helpful and safe, place a hand over the place where the feeling is most alive. Breathe as if you were sharing a warm drink with that part. No pressure to talk, only to be together. If this feels overwhelming, release it immediately and return to a neutral, soothing sensation in the room. You may stop anytime. Consider how your hands act when you try to hold a handful of water. Tighten the grip and the water escapes. Cup the hands gently, and they keep enough to drink. We apply the same principle to sleep. When you try very hard to sleep, it slips through tight fingers. When you cup the night with a gentle palm, rest collects. You cannot force it. You can invite it and avoid chasing. Open palm check, 30 seconds. If it feels right, imagine your hands as cups resting open on your lap or at your sides. Let the breath arrive and leave without you grabbing it. If this feels too abstract, simply feel the natural weight of your hands and let that be enough. You can stop anytime. Everyday practice turns ordinary moments into small teachers. The kettle's quiet rumble becomes a cue to soften your throat. The door's click when you come home becomes a reminder to leave work at the threshold. The bathroom mirror becomes a place where you lower your inner voice one notch. These anchors are not rules. They are stones near the path that help you keep your footing. If confusion is the strand that visits most, remember that fog does not need to be chased away. It lifts when the air shifts. You can simply choose one kind action and do it at a humane pace. Put the glass in the sink. Turn the light off. Place your phone face down. Then return to the body and let the next kind action find you. Confusion dissolves in gentle doing. In bed now, feel how small adjustments create relief. The pillow welcomes a slight turn. The blanket finds the right line across your shoulder. The breath picks a pace that fits this exact minute. Overthinking improves nothing here. Clear seeing notices the good that is already happening. Even if sleep is not yet near, rest is. Rest is not a consolation prize. It is ground being prepared. If you wake in the middle of the night, consider the generosity of starting over. You are allowed to be new at 2 a.m. You can greet yourself again as if you just arrived. Hello, you might say inside, I am here with you. Let us practice the simplest thing that helps for 1 minute. Then you do that minute. Often, another minute will volunteer. If it does not, you have still practiced kindness. You are strengthening trust with yourself. We will close this part with an image of spaciousness. Imagine the mind as a clear bowl of water placed on the windowsill. Earlier, the water was stirred, and everything mixed. Now it sits undisturbed. Pieces settle. The water clears. Moonlight finds its way through and lands on the floor, thin and silver. Thoughts still exist in the bowl, but they no longer cloud everything. You did not force them to sink. You simply stopped stirring as much. The bowl is your awareness. The moonlight is your natural ease. The floor is your life receiving the light. As the room grows a little quieter in your perception, let the words dissolve into something simpler: weight, warmth, breath. The hum in the corner, the rise and fall beneath your hands, the steadiness of your own presence. You are learning to set down what is not needed and to keep only what helps you rest. You are tuning the string to the middle tone again. Not too tight, not too loose, just right for deepening into the night. Night has settled into a deeper quiet. A faint glow slips under the door from a hallway light, enough to outline familiar shapes without asking your eyes to work. The air has that mild dryness that makes sheets feel crisp, and when you turn your head, the pillow holds a cool side waiting. Somewhere far off, a single cricket threads a steady note through the darkness, like a stitch in cloth. There is a glass of water within reach, the kind of small comfort that tells your animal body it is cared for. You can let your breathing find a pace that fits this hour, unhurried and natural, like a tide in a sheltered cove that knows the moon will keep its promise. Overthinking often believes it must stand guard all night because no one else will. It stacks sandbags at the door of the future and keeps checking the window of the past for intruders. But there is a different guard available, one that does not clench. It is the guard of presence, of feeling the world as it is contacting you now. Presence does not block threats with argument. It notices early, responds humanely, and rests between signals. Your body already understands this. The waking mind is just learning to trust it. Let your attention drop from your forehead to the softer landscape below the collarbones. There, the breath has a heavier sweetness. You might notice the small sway of ribs or the way the belly follows, a friendly echo. The mind may still present slides from its midnight presentation, but you can watch them in a dimmer projection, like old film gently clicking along in a quiet room. The urgency dissolves when you stop leaning forward into each thought. Scent anchor, 30 seconds. If it feels right, take a slow inhale and imagine you are smelling something calm and familiar. A folded sweater, clean cotton, a hint of rain left in the air. Let the exhale lengthen a fraction. If imagining scent is not pleasant, release it immediately and return to the simple feeling of the next breath. You can pause anytime. There is a pattern you may recognize from earlier today. You reached for your phone to check one simple thing, and 10 minutes later you were swimming in a sea of tabs, each promising completion. Craving wears a tidy uniform there, calling itself curiosity or diligence. But underneath is a tightness that insists only one more bit of information will set you free. Another strand, aversion, shows up when you avoid a feeling by bouncing to a task. And confusion, loyal as fog, thickens when too many inputs crowd the narrow hallway of attention. Tonight, we are widening the hallway. We are letting traffic thin. Consider a small scene. You were in an elevator, doors sliding closed, your mind producing strategies for a conversation not yet begun. The elevator hummed, lights flickered gently, and your feet felt the floor's slow rise. If you had practiced then, it might have been just one slower exhale, a tiny bow to what was actually happening. You do not need to go back and fix it. You only note that these doors and lights and gentle lifts are everywhere, and they are capable of carrying you without a committee meeting. Back of heart softening, 45 seconds. If it feels helpful, bring attention to the area between your shoulder blades. Imagine that space widening by a breath or two, as if a small window there opened to the cool night. Let the next exhale slide down that window frame. If this feels uncomfortable, let it go and rest your attention where the mattress supports you best. You may pause or stop whenever you like. A short story now told with care. In a village, there was a mother who lost her child and went searching for a cure. She was told to bring a pinch of mustard seed from a household that had known no loss. She went door to door, and every family, with kindness, told her their own story. Someone gone, a change they had not chosen, a season that required letting go. She did not find the seed that fit the rule, but she did find a truth large enough to hold her grief. Sorrow is not an error. It is part of the human weave. When overthinking tries to fix the unfixable, it often bears a love that has nowhere to go. The teaching is not to dismiss love but to hold it in a wider bowl. Tonight, if an ache visits, you do not have to silence it or solve it. You can place it in that bowl and let your breath be the gentle water that keeps it company. If this parable touches something tender, proceed with great kindness. You are not required to go deeper than feels safe. You can always return to the plain facts that comfort. A pillow under your cheek, fabric against your skin, the steady rhythm at your wrist. Safety lives in specifics. Let the specifics do their work. Warm hand rest, 30 to 45 seconds. If it feels right, lay one hand lightly over your chest or belly, wherever breath feels most at home. Feel the warmth of your hand meet the warmth of your body. Let the next exhale be patient. If this brings discomfort, remove the hand and rest your arms in any easy position. You can stop anytime. During the day, many small judgments accumulate like grit in the gears. The mind replays them, trying to engineer a version of you that never misses and never offends. The intention is noble, belonging, kindness, competence. But the method is exhausting. When you catch yourself auditing the day under a harsh lamp, experiment with a different light. Gentle audit, 60 seconds. If it feels helpful, bring to mind one moment you'd like to revise. Offer yourself 3 brief acknowledgments. I cared, I tried, I am learning. If any of these feel untrue, do not force them. Choose a softer line such as I can try again tomorrow. Let one longer exhale follow. If this practice stirs resistance, release it and rest with the sounds around you. You can pause anytime. The mind sometimes refuses to rest because it fears forgetting. It thinks that if you stop rehearsing, you will lose what matters. But notice how the body remembers what you do often without rehearsal. You tie your shoes and your hands know the pattern. You close the door and your wrist knows the turn. When you practice resting as often as you can, the body learns to remember rest too. Then, at night, you are less dependent on thought to grant permission. Everyday practice can be woven into the most ordinary acts. When you brush your teeth, feel the exact weight of the brush in your hand. When you set your phone on the charger, let that click be a cue for one easy exhale. When you turn off a lamp, see the light dim as if the inner commentary were dimming along with it. These are not rituals you must perform. They are gentle invitations that remind a busy mind that life happens in the body first. Corner melt, 45 seconds. If it feels right, bring attention to the corners of your eyes and the hinge of your jaw. Invite a few degrees of release in both, as if warm water were flowing over them. Notice if the breath responds. If this is uncomfortable in any way, stop and simply feel the contact of your heels or hips with the bed. You can pause anytime. When worry returns, as it will, you can answer with plans. Tomorrow at 9, I will write this down, or with presence. Right now, I am lying here feeling the rise and fall beneath my hand. Both are intelligent. The art is knowing which mode the moment asks for. In bed, presence is usually the cleaner medicine. Plans belong to daylight and paper. Presence belongs to darkness and fabric and breath. Sometimes your inner critic claims to be the only honest voice. Says, if I soften, I'll become careless. The truth is gentler. Softness is not the enemy of integrity. It is the atmosphere in which integrity can breathe. Much of what we regret comes from tightness and haste, not from ease. When you rest, you are not abandoning standards. You are giving your nervous system the conditions in which wise standards are even possible. Glimmer find, 45 seconds. If it feels helpful, remember one small pleasant thing from today. A patch of sunlight on a wall, the sound of a friend's message, the taste of something simple. Let the memory be brief and sensory. Then let it fade. This is not a hunt for positives to deny pain. It is a way to remind your mind that the world contains more than threats. If this feels forced, let it go and float on the next breath. You can stop anytime. In a grocery line, perhaps you found yourself impatient, the mind drafting speeches about efficiency. Aversion often hides inside righteousness. In those moments, a soft phrase can uncurl the fist. You might whisper inside, "This is what lines feel like," and notice the ground under your feet. Not to scold yourself into patience, but to rejoin the body that is waiting anyway. When you practice this in daylight, your nights inherit the fruits. Craving, too, is a loyal visitor. It promises relief if you can just perfect the plan or get one more check in, one more idea pinned down. But notice how the satisfaction fades quickly, and the loop asks for another round. Craving is less about the object and more about the momentum of reaching. When you sense that momentum in bed, you can practice the counter move, letting reaching relax into receiving. Receiving breath, 30 seconds. If it feels right, picture the inhale as something arriving without you reaching for it, like a letter sliding under the door. Let the exhale deliver a quiet thank you. If this image doesn't help, simply notice the breath as a gentle exchange with the room. If any part of this is uncomfortable, release it and rest as you are. You can pause anytime. You will not always catch loops early. Some nights, you will rehearse an entire argument before noticing your shoulders are near your ears. That is fine. The moment you notice is the right moment. You do not need to fix the past minute to be allowed to rest in this one. Awareness is punctual. It arrives on time for the moment it enters. If confusion is the visiting strand, making every choice feel thick, shrink the scope until something is workable. Workable often means one small, kind act. Put the glass closer. Adjust the pillow a fraction. Turn the blanket edge down so it meets your shoulder just right. These mundane fiddlings are not distractions. They are the way mammals make dens. Your nervous system reads the den as a signal to soften vigilance. Drowsy gait, 30 to 45 seconds. If it feels helpful, let your eyelids rest heavier by a grain or two, as if dusk inside your head deepened. Breathe as though you are arriving at a gate that opens inward without effort. If this sensation is unpleasant, immediately release it and settle your attention on the soundscape instead. You can stop anytime. A kind reframing for late worries is to trade the word emergency for visit. The thought is not an emergency. It is a visit. Visitors can be greeted and shown to the porch. You offer them tea or silence, whichever fits, and you do not invite them into every room. Over time, visitors learn your house rules. They arrive quieter, and they leave faster. There is a relief in recognizing that the night does not need your supervision. Somewhere, a constellation is climbing the sky with or without your analysis. Somewhere, a streetlight is clicking off because its timer was set long ago. Somewhere, the person you worried about is already asleep. Reality has its own engines. Your rest is not laziness. It is cooperation with a larger intelligence that keeps the world from falling apart without your constant help. When identity loosens, when you are not the fixer, not the perfecter, not the one who must anticipate every angle, breath becomes a companion rather than a taskmaster. You share the night with yourself instead of managing it. This companionship is what softens the edges. It is what allows a mind honed for survival to trust a few hours of surrender. Tiny bow, 20 to 30 seconds. If it feels right, at the end of your next exhale, allow your chin to dip a millimeter, a small nod to the part of you that worked hard today. You might whisper, "Thank you, we rest now." If bowing feels odd, skip it and let the words be a quiet thought. You can stop anytime. You may notice a pocket of rest opening, like a small clearing in a forest. Guard it lightly, not with fences but with friendly boundaries. When a thought rushes in with a briefcase and a schedule, you can smile and point to a bench at the edge of the clearing. "Sit here," you say inwardly. The mind is surprised to be treated as a guest rather than a tyrant. Guests remember good hospitality. They knock more gently next time. If the cricket's note fades and returns, let it be a metronome for calm. If instead the room is fully silent, hear the softness beneath silence. The way quiet seems to have its own texture. Resting in texture is different from thinking about rest. It gives the brain another job, one it can do kindly without revving up. There will be moments when you forget all of this and dive into a stream of what-ifs. You might get halfway down the river before you notice the current. No problem. The shore is always a single breath away. You do not have to swim upstream to return. You simply stand and step out. Standing, in the inner sense, is feeling the weight of your body, even just for a heartbeat. Stepping out is choosing a small anchor, hand warmth, pillow contact, sound. Then the river passes by without taking you along quite so strongly. You are doing quietly brave work by not making the mind your enemy. You are learning a cooperation that honors both your brilliant thinking and your tender animal needs. Over time, the defender in you learns that it can go off duty for stretches and still be respected in the morning. Clear seeing and compassion take the night shift, and they keep the lights low. Now, as the hour deepens, allow words to become softer shapes in the background. Let your attention be a kindness that does not need to decide where it belongs every second. If it wants to float by the window of breath, let it. If it wants to nap on the couch of contact and wait, let it. If it wants to step outside for a moment and listen to the night's small sounds, let it. You are trustworthy enough to drift. If sleep arrives, welcome it the way you would welcome a friend who lets themselves in without knocking because you have told them they can. If it does not arrive yet, do not tighten the invitation. Keep the door on its latch, the lamp turned down, and your voice inside steady and kind. The longer you practice like this, the more the body associates night with a clean kind of safety. Safety enough to rest. Safety enough to dream. Safety enough to let the mind set down its tools without fear of being replaced. You are here. The night holds. Your breathing knows the way. Let these be the facts that carry you now, and let the rest of the world continue under its own stars. A thin band of streetlight lays gentle lines across the ceiling, and the air has that quiet coolness that touches the skin like silk. Somewhere a neighbor's door closes once. Then the building settles back into hush. Your pillow offers a new, cooler patch when you turn your cheek. The blanket remembers where your knees prefer to rest. You do not need to shape the night into anything. Let the night shape itself around you. We have been practicing the simple art of staying close to what is real and kind in the moment. Breath, weight, sound, and the small permissions that let the mind rest. Tonight we add a deeper friendliness toward resistance itself. When you lie down, the The mind can spring up with a dozen reasons why now is not the right time to relax. A stray sentence you wish you had said differently. A plan that still feels fuzzy. A feeling that is raw and asking for a conclusion. This resistance is not a flaw. It is a reflex. Your nervous system evolved to prefer completed loops. Sleep requires an unfinished one. So we practice the courage of being unfinished for a while. Notice how the body responds to that idea. Being unfinished might sound like a threat, but your body knows unfinished well. You exhale and then you are not empty. There is always a little left. You eat and then later you are hungry again. You love someone and there are conversations still to come. Life is built from arcs, not checks. Overthinking tries to turn arcs into boxes. Clear seeing lets arcs be arcs. Edge softening scan 45 seconds. If it feels right, bring your attention to the edges of your body, the outline where air meets skin, where blanket meets arm, where pillow meets cheek. Sense those edges softening by a shade, as if the line were drawn with charcoal instead of ink. Let your breath follow that softening without any force. If this feels odd or unsafe, release it and rest in any one point of contact that feels undeniably supportive. You may pause anytime. During the day, resistance often hides inside helpful stories. You avoid sending a message because you want to get it right. You postpone a task because the conditions are not perfect yet. You rehearse a conversation because you care. These motives are not wrong, but their timing can be. Night asks for a different skill. Letting things be in progress. The world will still be in progress in the morning, and you will meet it from steadier ground. Craving wears one mask at night, the urge for certainty. You may feel it as reach. If I can just land this plan, then I can rest. Aversion wears another mask, the push against discomfort. You may feel it as bracing. If I can avoid feeling this ache, then I can rest. Confusion, loyal sibling, fogs the hallway. You may feel it as hovering. If I can just figure out the right entry point, then I can rest. Tonight, we do not argue with any of them. We bow to reach, bracing, and hovering. Then we step one small pace toward ease. Permission slip breath, 30 to 45 seconds. If it feels helpful, as you inhale, silently say to yourself aloud. As you exhale, silently say to rest. Let the words ride the breath lightly. If words feel intrusive, drop them and keep only the sense of permission. If any part of this irritates you, stop and simply breathe naturally. You can pause anytime. Think of a familiar moment. A message arrives with a short, flat tone. Your mind writes a play in an instant. Overthinking directs, acts, and reviews the play simultaneously. The body tightens, the breath shortens. A simple, humane alternative starts with 3 seconds of contact. Feel the weight of your body. Feel one exhale. Feel one point of support. From there, you can choose to respond or wait. The response you write from a grounded minute is not only kinder to others, it is kinder to the one who must live with your own voice in your head. 3 sound sweep, 60 seconds. If it feels right, listen for 3 distinct sounds in your environment. Let each sound arrive, be known, and fade. Do not hunt. Receive. After the 3rd sound, return to the feeling of your breath in one spot that is easy to find. If the room is very quiet, include the sound of your own breath or the subtle hum beneath silence. If listening feels overstimulating, stop and rest with the rhythm of your chest or belly. You may pause anytime. A small story for this hour. A person rows a boat across a misty lake. Another boat drifts near and bumps their side. Anger flashes, who is steering so carelessly? They turn and see the other boat is empty, set loose by the wind. The anger has nowhere to land. The bump is still real. The reaction changes. The old teaching calls this the empty boat. At night, so many bumps are empty boats. An algorithm, a passing mood in someone you love, a body that is simply tired and reading everything through a narrow lens. When you meet a bump, you can ask gently, is there actually a person at the oar? If the boat is empty, you bow to the bump and keep your energy for sleep. Empty boat reframe, 45 seconds. If it feels helpful, bring to mind one small bump from today. A curt message, a delay, a misread glance. Ask, what if this was an empty boat? Feel the body's response as you try on that possibility. If it eases you, let that ease spread through the next exhale. If it tensions you, let the image go immediately and return to the facts of the room. You can stop anytime. None of this asks you to deny real harm or avoid true conversations. It asks you to keep your nighttime energy for healing and to move the heavier discussions to daylight, when clarity and support are available. You are not abandoning responsibility. You are choosing the right hour for each task. During the day, try allowing tiny bits of incompletion to exist on purpose. Leave one dish for the next round and see whether the world ends. Send a courteous reply that does not address every angle. Close a tab after reading enough instead of everything. Each time you practice enough, your nervous system learns the flavor of enough. At night, that flavor is the taste of rest. Your body has quiet ways of saying yes to this. The breath finds a longer tail. The shoulders drop from vigilant to ordinary. The hands spread open. The eyes behind the lids stop squinting at imaginary screens. Let these be your teachers tonight. You do not have to invent a new path. You follow the body's invitations. Shoulder drop signal, 20 to 30 seconds. If it feels right, lift your shoulders a hair on the inhale and let them fall more than they rose on the exhale. Try this twice lightly. If any sensation is uncomfortable, stop at once and return to stillness. You may pause anytime. Sometimes sleep stalls because a beautiful idea has appeared and the mind is afraid to lose it. Write it down if you want. Or promise your mind you will meet it in the morning and then practice the art of letting a good thing rest so it can arrive fresh. Creativity does not only belong to bright cafes and lined notebooks. It belongs to rested bodies that have allowed night to do its silent, generous work. There is also the friction of identity. The one who solves, the one who never misses, the one who anticipates every need. These roles can tighten around the ribcage. Loosen them by a thread, not by renouncing your strengths, but by remembering they are coats you can hang up for the night. You remain you without wearing every coat to bed. Coat on a hook, 45 seconds. If it feels helpful, imagine the role you wore most today as a coat. See yourself hanging it on a hook by the door of your attention. You can pick it up in the morning. Notice the breath after you set it down. If this feels artificial, skip it and rest in the sensation of your back being supported. You can stop anytime. In ordinary scenes, practice patience with beginnings. The first minute of a meeting, the first 5 minutes after you wake, the first 10 minutes at your desk. Let those beginnings be ramps, not launches. Overthinking sprints off the line. Clear seeing allows momentum to build safely. When you live this way by day, night recognizes the tone and returns it to you. If grief is here or fear, they may ask you to look their way for a few breaths. You can do so without drowning. Feel 1 square inch of the feeling. Offer one kind phrase. Place one hand lightly where the tug is strongest. Then return to your anchors. The heart does not heal by force. It heals under steady companionship. You are offering steady companionship to your own life. At times, confusion will say that none of the practices are working. That too can be met. The point is not to find the perfect key every time. It is to remember you live in a house with many doors. If one door resists, try another. Breath, sound, contact, kind phrase, imagery. or simply stare into the soft darkness and let your attention rest on the fact that you are warm enough, sheltered enough, and allowed to be unfinished. Grain of sand, 45 seconds. If it feels right, choose one tiny physical sensation. A single fingertip's touch on fabric, the cool edge of the sheet, the warmth near your throat. Attend to that one grain for 3 breaths. If attention wanders, gently return it. If the grain is unpleasant, choose a different one or end the practice. You may pause anytime. You might have noticed that much of this is an education in exhale. We are not measuring or controlling. We are trusting the body to choose a slightly longer release when the atmosphere is kind. Exhale is what your system does when it believes it can let down its guard. You are teaching yourself that belief 1 humane minute at a time. In a grocery aisle, when impatience rises, you can practice the empty boat again. The person ahead of you fumbles with change. Maybe the boat is empty. Fatigue, distraction, a private sorrow. Your shoulders will know whether that thought softens them. If yes, let them soften. If not, feel your feet on the ground and let one breath have more space. Neither move is heroic. Both are merciful. At home, when a loved one's tone rubs your skin the wrong way, try the ramp. Pause before you reply. Let a slow breath arrive. Touch the counter with your palm to remind your body it is in a kitchen, not a battlefield. Then speak. The sentence you choose from that ramp will be kinder. And if it is not, you will notice earlier and correct more gently. This is how practice shows up, not as perfection but as better recoveries. Rest asks for trust. Not blind trust in outcomes, but practical trust in processes. You can trust that thought will still be possible in the morning. You can trust that a body at ease solves more wisely than a body in alarm. You can trust that most boats that bump you after dark are empty enough to forgive. You can trust that your worth is not earned by one flawless day or one flawless night. It accrues in the way you meet your moments, with as much humanity as you can afford. There is a quiet dignity in letting go without drama. Not throwing away your tools, not declaring big vows. Simply setting the toolbox by the door and washing your hands. The night is a sink for the day. Warm water, gentle lather, rinse, dry. You would not scrub your hands with a wire brush to prove you care about cleanliness. You do not need a wire brush for the mind either. Clean rinse, 30 to 45 seconds. If it feels right, imagine your exhale as warm water running over your hands. On the inhale, feel the weight of your hands as if drying with a soft towel. 2 or 3 cycles, no strain. If this image doesn't help, stop and return to a neutral sensation you trust. You can pause anytime. If you wake in the small hours, your first move can be the smallest kindness. Turn your head to the cool patch. Adjust the blanket an inch. Let your jaw loosen a fraction. Whisper a simple phrase that does not demand anything. Safe enough for now. Allowed to rest. Here with you. Then give your mind an easy, repetitive job. Listening for the 3 softest sounds, or counting windows in a building you know, or following the shape of your breath from the nose to the throat and back again. Boredom is not the enemy in the night. It is the doorway back to sleep. You are not alone in this practice. Across the city, across the world, other people are lying in their rooms making peace with the unfinished. Some are new to it. Some have been practicing for years. You are part of a quiet community of breathers who have chosen kindness over harshness as their path to rest. If it helps, imagine their rooms as small lanterns in the dark. Imagine your room as one of those lanterns. The light is not bright. It is warm and steady. That is enough. Let the words thin again. Let the air meet your skin. Let the mattress take your weight without asking for a report. Let the breath arrive and leave without invoices. You do not have to earn the next inhale. It is gifted to you. You do not have to justify the next exhale. It will be accepted as it is. This is the middle tone again, no fight, no collapse, just human rhythm returning to itself. In a few moments, you might sleep. If you do not, you are still practicing something precious. The art of not making an enemy of your own mind. The art of meeting craving, aversion, and confusion with a bow instead of a fist. The art of letting empty boats pass without spending your night shouting at the fog. This art will follow you into the day. It will shape your replies and your steps and the tone of your voice. But for now, it is enough that it shapes your breathing. Allow your attention to rest where it wishes. On the small cool at the tip of your nose, on the slow warmth in the palms, on the steady quiet that pools in the room. The world continues on its own currents. Streetlight, night breeze, faint faraway sounds. None of them needs your supervision. The part of you that guarded the gates all day can sit down now. You can loosen the strap, set the basket by your side, and let your head be held. You are here. You are allowed to be unfinished. You are allowed to rest. The night understands, and so does your breath. A faint breeze slips in through the smallest opening of the window and brushes your skin like cool cloth. Somewhere down the street, a dog barks once, and then the neighborhood folds back into quiet. The soft scent of clean fabric lingers near your pillow. Your body fits the bed the way a pebble fits a riverbed, held and shaped by something older than thought. You have arrived at another hour where words can loosen and the simple facts of breath and weight can take the lead. Tonight is devoted to practice in a patient, grounded way. Not ideas about practice, not promises about practice, just the lived feel of gentle steps you can take even when the mind is busy and bargaining. Overthinking will always try to negotiate. It will ask for one more pass through the story, one more rehearsal, one more search result. You are allowed to smile inwardly and say, "Not right now, dear mind, we are practicing." Practice is the agreement you keep with your nervous system that the night belongs to settling. Begin where you are. Notice one piece of contact that is undeniably here. The back of your head, the line of your shoulder, the wide, friendly weight of your hips. Let attention rest there for a few breaths as if you were placing a warm stone on that place. This is not an attempt to think your way out of thinking. It is a way of letting the body show you the door that was already open. Anchor triangle, 45 seconds. If it feels right, let your attention move gently between 3 anchors. A single point of contact with the bed, the rise and fall of your breathing in one spot, and the easiest sound in the room. Spend a breath with each, then move to the next in a slow triangle. If any point is uncomfortable, skip it and choose another that feels safe. You can stop anytime. As you move through the triangle, you may notice the mind offering commentary. It will rate your performance, suggest improvements, or pull you toward a plan. Commentary is not a problem. It is what minds generate. The practice is to treat commentary as weather around the triangle rather than a command inside it. When you drift, as all humans do, you return. Returning is the muscle you are building, not a punishment for wandering. There is a common friction that surfaces here. Craving wants the practice to work quickly so you can sleep now. Aversion wants to push away any sensation that is odd or tender. Confusion clouds the edges and makes you wonder if you are doing it correctly. You do not need a perfect technique. You need a humane attitude. The humane attitude says, "I will do a little of what helps and let the rest be unfinished." Label the loop, 30 seconds. If it feels helpful when a thought keeps circling, give it a soft one-word label like planning, protecting, or replaying, then return to the nearest anchor. If labeling feels sharp or judgmental, skip it and go straight back to breath, contact, or sound. You may pause any time. Practice lives in ordinary scenes too. Tomorrow, when you wash your hands, notice the temperature of the water for the first 2 seconds before your mind runs ahead. When you open a door, let the hinge's small sound mark a breath out. When a message lands with a tone you don't like, allow the first exhale before any reply forms. These are not chores. They are the quiet physical grammar of a kinder day. The grammar you use by sunlight becomes the lullaby your night recognizes. Sometimes a thought feels too sticky for labels. It is braided with emotion or identity or both. In those moments, a simple phrase can loosen the braid just enough to set you down. The phrase is not a spell. It is a reminder of your permission. Let it be this 30 to 45 seconds. If it feels right, whisper inwardly on the inhale, let it be, and on the exhale, this. Let it be this breath, this weight, this moment. If words are irritating, let them go and keep only the felt sense of allowing. If any part of this grows uncomfortable, release it and rest in silence. You can stop anytime. We will try a slightly longer practice together, a gentle walk through the body with kindness for each place that speaks. You can do it as a whole or in fragments, and you can pause at any time. Candlelit scan. Imagine your awareness as a small, steady candle you carry through a familiar home at night. You do not interrogate the rooms. You simply pass through and notice what is there. Begin above the eyebrows. Feel the forehead's texture from the inside. If there is tension, greet it and move on. Drift to the soft area around the eyes. You might imagine the eyes resting in warm water. Down to the cheeks and jaw. If the jaw is working hard, allow the lips to part a millimeter and feel for a thread of ease along the hinge. Move to the back of the tongue, resting low in the mouth, a gate opening. Let the candle pass down the neck where small muscles so often perform. Keep going to the collarbones, notice any ache or hush there, and then into the chest, sensing not stories but movement, a tide that rises and falls. Visit the upper back, that wide landscape that carries invisible loads all day. You can set one of them down here if it feels right. Travel to the belly and the sides of the waist. If there is guarding, acknowledge the guard with gratitude and do not demand that it drop. Guards relax in the presence of trust, not orders. Continue to the hips, heavy and loyal, to the thighs which have hauled you from place to place, to the knees which endure, to the calves and ankles and the tender architecture of the feet. At each stop, you are saying without words, I see you, I am with you. You can rest a little. If a place calls for more time, linger. If a place asks you to move on, move on. If emotion rises, allow one hand to land lightly where it wants company. Then return to the candle and keep walking. If anything feels overwhelming, stop the tour and sit with one simple anchor until steadiness returns. You can resume later or not at all. Notice how this kind of slow tour changes the pressure in your thoughts. Overthinking tends to collapse your world into the head. The candle puts space back into the house. Space is not an absence. It is the room in which ease appears. Gate of letting be, 60 seconds. If it feels helpful, choose one spot you visited that asked for more time. Breathe there as if your breath could arrive beside it and sit on a bench.
No fixing, no tasks.
If that spot grows louder, thank it for speaking and return to the bench of breath. You can stop anytime. The second part of tonight's practice invites a friendly rhythm you can use whenever a loop tries to sprint. The rhythm is simply this: pause, bow, begin again. Pause to feel one anchor. Bow inwardly to the fact that a loop grabbed you. Begin again with the next breath. The bow matters. It is the difference between scolding and respect. Minds learn better under respect. 3-step reset, 30 to 45 seconds. If it feels right, practice one cycle now. Feel one anchor. Nod to the loop without analysis. Begin again with the next inhale. If the nod feels silly, skip it and keep the cycle simple. You can stop anytime. During the day, you can rehearse this rhythm in miniature. The kettle clicks and you pause. You bow to the habit that wants to check something while you pour. You begin again by simply pouring. Rehearsal during daylight makes the night more cooperative because the rhythm will be familiar, like a tune you heard earlier that returns softly now. Let us address a common question that rises in the dark. What if I am wasting time by resting when there is so much to handle? This fear is craving dressed as duty. It wants certainty that rest won't cost you tomorrow's success. But your experience already knows the answer. The times you have spoken or acted from a rested place have usually gone better than the times you pushed past your own red lights. Rest does not cancel action. It calibrates it. There is a quieter fear under that one. What if resting means I stop caring? Aversion whispers this to keep you on alert. But caring is not measured by sleeplessness. It is measured by the tone of your presence when it matters. Presence that has tasted ease is more skillful, not less. Another friction appears when confusion tells you that you must pick the perfect technique. In truth, any small, honest anchor will do. Some nights it is breath. Some nights it is sound. Some nights it is the palm on the chest or a phrase placed like a pebble in the pocket. You are not taking an exam. You are caring for a living system. Experiment and choose what feels workable now. Pocket phrase, 30 seconds. If it feels helpful, choose one short line to carry for the rest of the night. Safe enough for now. Allowed to rest. Here with you. Repeat it once or twice, then let it fade into the background like a friendly hum. If phrases feel unhelpful, release them and keep only the hum of breathing. You may pause anytime. Practice also means cleaning up how you end the day. The mind receives strong signals from small cues. Dim one lamp before you plan to sleep. Put the phone where your arm cannot reach it from bed. Straighten the sheet's edge so it meets your shoulder in exactly the way your body prefers. Not as rituals you must obey, but as gifts you give your animal self so it understands the porch light is on and strangers are not expected. If a surge of energy arrives just as you start to settle, treat it like a visitor who came late. You do not need to entertain. Let it stand in the entryway. Offer water. It will leave sooner if you do not turn on every light. The surge may be the last act of the day's adrenaline, or the mind's attempt to control the mystery of drifting. Either way, a steady attention and a longer exhale will teach it your house rules. Longer tail, 45 seconds. If it feels right, let the next exhale lengthen by a beat or two compared to the inhale, only if it comes easily. Feel how the lengthening changes the music of your chest. If any strain appears, drop the count and breathe however you like. You can stop anytime. Some people find it helpful to give the mind a simple, repetitive task that is too gentle to rev it up but just structured enough to occupy its busy hands. Counting can help, but counting can also turn into a test. So we choose a count with no stakes. Soft count 8, 60 seconds. If it feels helpful, count only the exhale from 1 to 8, then return to 1. If you lose track, smile inwardly and start again at 1. If numbers feel sticky, count a steady rhythm in your head like faraway footsteps. You can stop anytime. Notice the temptation to check whether it's working. That check is craving again, reaching for a guarantee. Instead of checking, keep practicing. Practice is like watching a cup of muddy water settle. You cannot press the silt to the bottom. You place the cup on the table and stop stirring. The settling happens because you stopped, not because you forced it. If sorrow or fear shows up mid-practice, you do not need to banish them to continue. You can widen the practice to include them. Imagine the sorrow sitting beside you on a porch chair. Imagine fear as a stray dog you do not pet but do not chase. The body tends to ease when feelings are allowed to exist without being judged or fed. Porch inclusion, 45 seconds. If it feels right and safe, name one feeling as if greeting a neighbor. Hello, sadness. Hello, worry. Let it occupy a chair at the edge of attention while you stay with your anchor. If this raises distress, end at once and return to the simplest sensation you trust. You may pause any time. We return now to the quiet craft of finishing the day without slamming the door. Picture your attention as a lantern whose flame you lower notch by notch. Bright enough to move through the house. Low enough to invite sleep. Lower one notch with each gentle exhale. Imagine the room growing friendlier as the light softens. This is not imagery for its own sake. It is training the nervous system to associate dimming with safety. Dimmer notches, 30 to 45 seconds. If it feels helpful, choose a number from 3 to 5. With each exhale, silently say a number as if turning the light down. When you reach the last number, stop counting and float in the dim. If counting brings pressure, stop and simply watch the sense of brightness in your awareness grow softer. You can pause anytime. You may notice that even as your body calms, the mind still wants to tell you who you are. The diligent one, the responsible one, the one who keeps it all together. These names have served you. They are also heavy at night. You can hold identity lightly by remembering that roles are tools, not skin. Tools go back in the drawer. Skin remains and can breathe. Drawer and skin, 30 seconds. If it feels right, on the next exhale imagine placing a single roll back into a wooden drawer. Feel your chest respond to the extra space. If imagining rolls feels strange, skip it and just rest with the movement of your ribs. You may pause anytime. As this part of the night matures, let the practices braid together in a simple rope. Anchor triangle when loops race. Candlelit scan when the body asks for company. Soft count 8 when the mind wants a job. Pocket phrase when you need a gentle hand on the shoulder. 3-step reset whenever you catch yourself mid-spiral. The rope does not need to be perfect. It needs to be reachable in the dark. And if nothing seems to help for a stretch, remember that you are still doing something good by not adding the second arrow of self-attack. You are not making the mind your enemy. You are staying human in a human night. Sometimes weather is just weather. On those nights, kindness toward your own persistence is the practice. Rest also means allowing the senses to widen and rest on the whole room instead of one object. Feel the room as a single bowl holding you. The bowl has air and quiet and distant sounds and the steady fact of walls and ceiling. You do not have to hold yourself up. The bowl is doing most of the work. You only cooperate by letting go of a little more guarding with each unforced exhale. Bowl of night, 45 seconds. If it feels helpful, sense the shape of the room around you without moving. Let your breath be the gentle weight in the bowl. If sensing the room feels strange, return to one specific anchor. You can stop anytime. When you wake later, as people do, you will already know the path back because you walked it here. Do not measure the night in victories. Measure it in the number of times you remembered to treat yourself as a being, not a machine. Machines power down abruptly. Beings settle by degrees. We will end this practice-heavy hour with a small ceremony that has no right or wrong. Close your inner book for the day. See the last page. Set the book on the table of tomorrow. Place your palm on its cover for one breath and then turn away toward the window where night greets you without requirements. You do not have to earn the next breath. You will receive it. You do not have to prove you are worthy of rest. You already are. Allow the breeze to cool your skin. Let the pillow cradle the warm curve of your cheek. Let your chest rise and fall like a tide that belongs here. The rope of practices rests coiled beside you. You can reach for it or not. Either way, the bowl of the room holds steady and the candle of attention burns low and kind. This is enough. You are enough. Rest is already moving through you, stitch by gentle stitch. Somewhere beyond your street, a river of traffic hushes to a faraway whisper. like surf arriving and slipping back. A quiet clock marks time with soft ticks that ask nothing of you. The room holds its gentle shapes in the dim, and your bed receives your weight as if it had been waiting all evening for this moment. A thread of cooler air moves under the blanket and settles around your ankles. You are being kept by simple things. You can let them do the keeping. Tonight we look kindly at 3 familiar visitors that stir the mind after dark. You know their movements already. One reaches toward what might complete you. One pushes against what feels unpleasant. One loses the trail and circles the same patch of ground. Craving, aversion, confusion, reach, push, fog. We are not here to banish them. We are here to see them clearly enough that they loosen their grip and reveal what they were trying clumsily to protect. Begin with a single breath that asks nothing fancy of you. Let it arrive. Let it leave. Notice the small relief that comes when you do not supervise it. That relief is the door we will use. There is a way to recast these 3 not as enemies but as messengers. Craving says, something matters to me. Aversion says, something hurts or threatens me. Confusion says, I do not know yet. If you can hear these translations, the body drops some armor. The mind does not have to mount a case in the night. Signals can stay signals. You can wait until morning to write the policy. From reach to receive, 45 seconds. If it feels right, notice one place in you that is leaning forward, the brow, the jaw, the chest. On the next exhale, imagine that place leaning back into a chair by 1 inch. Let the inhale arrive like a gift rather than something you grab. If this image irritates or strains, release it and simply feel the fabric under your fingertips. You can pause anytime. Reach often shows up as the last check, the last tab, the perfect line you want for tomorrow's talk. It promises rest on the other side of one more move. You have learned how that promise keeps renewing itself. The reframe is simple. Receiving is a form of completion. Receiving the support of the bed. Receiving the sound of the room. Receiving the breath as a visitor who knows your address. Rest grows where receiving is practiced. Push is the reflex to argue with what is happening. The itch on your ankle. The memory that warms your cheeks with embarrassment. The heaviness behind the sternum. The mind tenses as if it could eject the moment by clenching. Cannot, but it can make the moment louder. The reframe here is protection. Push means a part of you is trying to keep you safe. You can thank it and offer another method. From push to protect, 45 seconds. If it feels helpful, place a hand 2 inches above where the uncomfortable sensation lives, not touching, just hovering. On a slow exhale, let the hand lower until it meets the body. Imagine saying, I'm here, I will protect us by staying kind. If this amplifies distress, remove the hand and return to sound or breath with no added imagery. You may stop any time. Fog is the gentle thief of direction. It is not an enemy either. It is a low battery warning. The mind is tired and tries to think its way out of fatigue. Cannot. The reframe for fog is permission to simplify. When you simplify, the fog thins on its own. From fog to frame, 45 seconds. If it feels right, give the next minute a single frame. Choose breath, contact, or sound. Name it once inside, breath, contact, or sound. For this minute, let everything else take a seat. If naming irritates you, drop the word and keep only the frame. If distress increases, end at once and rest however you like. You can pause anytime. These reframes belong in daylight too. You are waiting at a crosswalk that takes longer than it should. Reach wants to sprint your attention into the next block. Push wants to scold the world into being faster. Fog wants to open every app at once. A single exhale, a single square foot of ground under your shoes, and a single sound bring you back to something you can carry. There is an old story that fits this night. When the Buddha sat under the tree, the figure of Mara, the personification of confusion, craving, and aversion, came to visit. Mara arrived with storms and temptations and accusations. Instead of fighting, the Buddha touched the earth, calling the ground as witness, and said, "I see you, Mara." The storms lost their power in the space created by this seeing. The teaching is not about myth. It is about method. Seeing clearly without panic. Touching what is solid. Choosing a response that does not feed the storm. I see you 60 seconds. If it feels helpful when a loop rises, label it gently as reach, push, or fog. Whisper inwardly, "I see you." Touch the bed with your fingertips or the sheet with your forearm to include the earth in the room. Breathe once as if the floor were breathing with you. If any of this feels strange, drop the words and simply feel the points of contact again. You can stop anytime. During the day, you can practice this with small frictions. The child resists putting on shoes. Reach plans 3 speeches. Push tightens your tone. Fog forgets what you were doing. You kneel to the child's height, feel your feet on the mat and say less. Shoes go on faster from a calm nervous system. You both learn trust. Let us make the reframes concrete with scenes you know. You open your inbox and see 20 unread messages. Reach wants all 20 open now. Push wants to close the laptop. Fog wants to scroll the news instead. Reframe. The fact is one subject line, one body of text, one reply field. You write the first honest line to one person and take one slow breath before the second. Across the day, one honest first line saves hours. Or you are in traffic, late for an appointment. Reach leans forward at the wheel. Push blames. Fog misses the turn. Reframe. The car interior is your world. Your hands, your breath, your seat. One longer exhale. A gentler grip. You arrive late and composed, which changes the next hour's quality more than the 4 minutes you might have shaved. Here in bed, you will feel these same patterns trying to recruit you. Reach wants to solve tomorrow. Push wants to remove tonight's feelings. Fog wants the perfect practice before it starts. You can answer with a small sacred laziness, the kind that lets the bed hold your full weight without you holding yourself up from the inside. Allowing wait 30 to 45 seconds. If it feels right, on the next exhale, imagine your bones giving themselves to gravity by 1 more %. Not collapse, cooperation. If any joint complains, stop and return to the steady rhythm of your breath. You can pause anytime. The mind often circles the idea of deserving. Do I deserve rest if the day was messy? That question belongs to push and reach both. Push wants a verdict. Reach wants a condition. Rest is not a reward for performance. It is maintenance for being alive. You deserve maintenance because you exist, the way a garden deserves water whether or not every weed was pulled today. The more you practice this truth, the more your days improve by accident. Sometimes craving hides inside a noble cape. Responsibility. You keep checking the weather for someone you love. You draft replies while brushing your teeth. Responsibility is good, but responsibility without rhythm drains its own power. Reframe responsibility as cadence. Work, then breathe. Care, then breathe. Plan, then breathe. The breath does not delay the care. Protects it. Cadence breath, 30 seconds. If it feels helpful, let the next 3 exhales be small commas in your inner sentence. Imagine your tasks landing between commas, not in a frantic block of text. If this feels silly, let it go and rest your attention in the palm or the chest. You can pause anytime. Aversion, too, can present as certain kinds of righteousness. You were wronged. You replay the scene to prevent being wronged again. This is understandable. But the replay rarely trains the moment you think it trains. It trains tension. Reframe protection as clarity without voltage. You can write a boundary in daylight. Tonight, you write a lullaby. Lullaby boundary, 45 seconds. If it feels right, whisper the boundary you hope to hold tomorrow in its simplest form, once with a gentle tone. Then place it on the tomorrow shelf in your mind and breathe out a little more. If this activates you, end the practice and return to a neutral anchor. You may pause anytime. Confusion is often the mind's way of saying the issue is too big for the hour. Night loves solvable things. Feeling the pillow, hearing a distant car, counting 8 slow exhales. When a big life question walks into the room, you can offer it tea and tell it kindly that morning is when you talk business. Most big questions respect the sign on the door if it is written in a clear hand. Sign on the door, 30 to 45 seconds. If it feels helpful, picture a small wooden sign at the threshold of your attention. Night hours, gentle work only. Hang it there for a breath or two. If images aren't your thing, simply repeat gentle work only once and feel the bed hold you. You can stop anytime. I will offer a story from everyday life that might be yours. You are in a grocery aisle and someone blocks the shelf you need. Reach drafts a strategy to pass. Push collects small arguments. Fog forgets the list. You take one breath and look at the person's face. You see the tiredness you know. You say excuse me in a tone you'd like to hear. The aisle rearranges itself. Nothing mystical. Just the human nervous system responding to a human tone. This is the same tone we bring to ourselves at night. Excuse me, you say to your own mind. Let me through to rest. If guilt arrives because you are resting while others are awake and struggling, reframe guilt as care looking for a skillful channel. Care can be scheduled. Exhaustion is not an offering anyone needs from you. Rest makes care more accurate. You are not abandoning the world by sleeping. You are returning to it with a steadier hand. Sometimes the 3 strands braid together into a rope that pulls hard. Reach for the answer, push away the feeling, fog up the edges. When that happens, shrink your world to the size of one palm and one phrase. Palm and phrase, 30 seconds. If it feels right, rest a hand where the breath is most obvious and whisper, here, now, enough. If words feel wrong, keep only the hand. If the hand feels wrong, keep only the breath. You may pause anytime. You can also borrow a gesture from the story of touching the earth. Your earth is the bed frame, the wall, the floor. Leaving the blankets undisturbed, place one fingertip against a solid surface if it is within reach. Feel the cool steadiness that does not depend on your thoughts. This is not an escape from thinking. It is a reminder that the world is larger than any argument inside your head. Touch the earth, 20 to 30 seconds. If it feels safe, lightly touch wood or wall or the edge of the mattress. Let one exhale move through that touch. If this is impractical, touch your own forearm and feel the same steadiness. If any part of this is uncomfortable, stop immediately and return to what soothes. You can pause anytime. We have spoken much about the exhale, and for good reason. But notice also the quiet generosity of the pause after the exhale, that small stillness before the breath returns. You are not making the pause. It arrives. The body trusts the world enough to be empty for a beat. This is the rhythm of letting go. It is the opposite of the second arrow. It does not add. It lets. Small stillness, 30 seconds. If it feels right, feel the natural pause after your next exhale without extending it. Notice the ease of emptiness that lasts only as long as it wants to. If paying attention to the pause feels edgy, do not continue. Rest with the flow of inhale and exhale instead. You can stop anytime. A note on identity as the night deepens. Reach says you must be the one who knows. Push says you must be the one who never hurts. Fog says you must at least be the one who keeps trying. Gently set down these uniforms. You are a living organism resting in a safe room. You are part of the ordinary goodness of mammals who curl and breathe and heal in sleep. Let that be your title for the hour. Sometimes the most compassionate move is to lower the amount of meaning in the room. Not everything has to teach you. Not everything has to be made into a lesson. The blanket is not a metaphor. It is a blanket. The pillow is not a symbol. It is a place for your head. When meaning thins, rest thickens. Plain things, 45 seconds. If it feels helpful, spend 3 breaths naming only plain facts in your head. Pillow, warmth, air, weight. If naming pulls you into analysis, drop the words and feel the facts without language. You can pause anytime. If you wake later and the 3 visitors are waiting, greet them with the same tone you would use at your door after midnight with neighbors you know well. I see you, you might say. Tonight is quiet hours. The kettle is off. Chairs are on the porch. Sit if you must. I am going to rest. Then you rest as best you can, which is always enough. In the last stretch of this part, let us weave the reframes into a small evening ritual you can perform without moving more than a breath or 2. Feel the reach in your body and invite an inch of leaning back. Feel the push and offer protection through a warmer tone and a hand if that suits you. Feel the fog and choose a frame, just one. Touch the earth or your own forearm. Whisper a pocket phrase, simple and honest. Then let the room do its work. You are not responsible for the tides. You are responsible for whether you climb into the boat and let the tide rock you. If a yawn arrives now, consider it a nod from the animal in you that understands how night works. If no yawn comes, there is no problem to solve. Rest is already happening in slow layers, in the way your face lets go of its day mask, in the way your shoulders stop listening for their names, in the way your breath changes its mind about speed without asking permission. Overthinking may not like the pace. It is allowed to dislike it. You are still allowed to rest. Picture the 3 visitors, reach, push, fog, sitting on a bench at the far end of a garden. You are on the near end, lying back in the grass. A soft breeze moves over both of you. No one is banished. No one is running the show. The garden is big enough for all of you, and night is watering it with darkness the way dawn will water it with light. You are a gardener who knows when to work and when to lie down and watch the sky do its generous part. Let the clock keep its quiet ticks. Let the distant river of traffic be no more urgent than a shell held to the ear. Let your breath practice receiving and releasing without your supervision. Let your body have its maintenance. You are not failing anyone by sleeping. You are rejoining the older rhythm that kept your ancestors alive long before alarms and screens. It is a rhythm that softens reach to receiving, turns push into protection, and uses fog as a cue to simplify. The rest of the teaching will meet you in the morning. For now, the teaching is simple. Be held. Night holds steady outside your window. Leaves murmur against one another somewhere beyond the glass, and a faint scent of clean linen lingers in the room. Your shoulder finds a gentle hollow in the mattress, and the blanket settles with a quiet whisper where it meets your collarbone. The air is temperate and kind. There is nothing you need to fix for the next few minutes. You can let the quiet come closer, like a shawl drawn loosely around the chest. We have met the looping mind with simple anchors and honest seeing. Tonight we lean into a warmer medicine, compassion, and the particular freedom that arrives when you loosen who you imagine you must be. You have carried yourself all day under various names. Worker, parent, partner, friend, fixer, good person, the one who remembers everything, the one who drops nothing. These names are useful jackets in wind and weather. They are not the skin. Night is your time to hang the jackets up and feel the body that lives beneath them, breathing for its own sake, worthy before performance, loved before improvement. When overthinking grows loud, it often hides beneath love. You worry because you care. You rehearse because you don't want to harm. You plan because you hope to give the best of yourself. Compassion is not the opposite of these. It is the way to carry them without bruising your ribs. Compassion is the tone of voice you use with a tired friend, turned inward. It is a human warmth that says, "I see your effort, and I won't make you pay admission for rest." Warm light for the heart, 45 to 60 seconds. If it feels right, place a hand over the upper chest where breath rises most clearly. Imagine a soft, amber light there, not bright, just warm. With each easy exhale, let that warmth spread a little, like tea moving through a cup. If this image feels awkward, drop it and stay with the simple weight of the hand and the movement beneath. You can pause anytime. You might notice how quickly a harsher voice tries to interrupt. Shouldn't I be tougher? Shouldn't I be finished by now? Shouldn't I have known better? This is the strand of aversion wearing the badge of standards. The counter-move is not to argue but to change the lighting. Imagine those words being read in a softer tone by someone who truly cares for you. You'll find that the content changes when the tone changes. Even truth lands more gently when carried by kindness. There is a small story told about a man who hurled insults at a wise teacher until his face was red. The teacher listened without flare or collapse. When the man finally paused, the teacher asked, "If a person brings a gift and you do not accept it, to whom does it belong?" The man said, "To the giver." The teacher nodded. In the night, thoughts sometimes bring you sharp gifts. Old criticisms, imagined judgments, reviews of the day delivered in harsh language. When you do not accept the tone, the gift stays where it came from. You can still learn from the day, but you don't have to swallow the wrapping. Kindness pulse, 30 seconds. If it feels helpful, pick a simple inner phrase and let it ride your next 2 breaths. "I am doing my best for now," or "May I rest in ease." Whisper it inwardly once on the inhale and once on the exhale. If phrases feel false or heavy, leave them and return to the hush of air moving in and out. You may stop anytime. Compassion is not indulgence. It is maintenance for courage. A rested person can apologize more promptly, set boundaries more clearly, and say yes with a clean spine. Harshness tends to make us rigid and brittle. Tenderness keeps us flexible enough to meet life's turns. Think of a door hinge. Too tight and it squeals, too loose and it wobbles. A drop of oil is small and ordinary, and it changes everything. Your kindness is that oil. Consider how identity tightens your chest in small ways. The one who must not disappoint. The one who must be on top of everything. The one who never needs help. These names make the mind sprint at bedtime, trying to patch holes in a mask no human can keep perfect. Tonight, you lay the mask on the bedside table. Not to become no one, but to feel how large the someone is beneath the mask. Tag loosening 45 seconds. If it feels right, name silently one tag you wore all day, the responsible one, the cheerful one, the strong one. On the next exhale, imagine the tag's corner unsticking just a little, curling up from the fabric. You can put it back on tomorrow if you want. For now, let the breath move under it. If the image feels odd, skip it and rest in the contact points that hold you. You can pause anytime. Compassion thrives in specifics. You do not have to love a giant abstract self. You can love this tired throat, this jaw that tried to hold the world, these hands that carried groceries and typed replies and held someone's shoulder. You can love your own confusion for trying to keep you safe by freezing. You can love your craving for reaching toward a life you care about. You can love your pushing as the effort of a protector who doesn't yet trust softer methods. Compassion is not agreement with every behavior. It is acknowledgement of the human under the behavior. Name and nourish 45 seconds. If it feels helpful, name a part of you that tried hard today, protector, planner, peacemaker, performer. Say inwardly, "Thank you for your work. Rest now." Place a hand wherever that part seems to live and breathe there twice. If this stirs discomfort, release it and return to feeling the bed support you. You may stop any time. A common fear is that compassion will make you lax. But recall the times you shifted course after being seen kindly by someone who respected you. Their warmth did not excuse your misstep. It gave your nervous system enough safety to change. Self-compassion works the same way. It is the tone that lets you move without bracing. Everyday scenes are ripe for this practice. You send a message with a typo and notice the rush of heat in the face. The harsh voice jumps in. Try a different sequence. Warm hand to chest, one longer exhale, a soft inner phrase, alright, small mistake, then you correct it. The difference is not that the world changes, but that you change your posture toward the world. At night, posture is everything. Paper boat practice, 60 seconds. If it feels right, imagine writing one sentence of kindness on a small paper boat. May I be gentle with myself. Place the boat on a quiet stream in your mind and watch it drift. Then write one for someone who crossed your mind today. Friend, stranger, even someone difficult. May you be safe and at ease. Let that second boat go too. If this feels unnatural, drop the imagery and simply spend 2 breaths picturing a face you care for, including your own, with a soft gaze. You can stop anytime. Notice how the breath changes when you send kindness outward as well as inward. Compassion expands identity in both directions. You are less trapped inside a small self, and you are also less caught in other people's sharp corners. The borders soften. You are still you, and that you is more spacious, like a house with windows open on a gentle night. Identity lightening is not denial of who you are. It is a more accurate view. You are not just the role that won or lost today. You are the field in which roles happen. You are the one who breathes before and after the task. You are the host, not just the guest wearing a name tag. Host means you can choose the music. Tonight the music is slow. Gentle host, 30 to 45 seconds. If it feels helpful, sense your whole body at once, as if your awareness were a soft blanket draped over you from crown to soles. No analysis, just coverage. Let one exhale arrive a little longer on its own under that blanket. If this brings unease, fold the blanket back to one small area. Palm, cheek, ankle, and rest there. You may pause anytime. When you think of someone who frustrated you today, try viewing them lightly too. Not to excuse harm, but to reduce the glue. They also wore a mask, they also carried craving and push and fog. Their nervous system is learning or not learning, just as yours is. Compassion does not remove boundaries. It makes boundaries clear without poison. You can decide tomorrow's line while keeping tonight's heart soft enough to sleep. Forgiveness minute, 45 seconds. If it feels right, choose a small incident where you felt stung. Whisper inwardly, I release this for the night. If that feels too big, try, I will not rehearse this while I rest. Let your exhale be the release. If any of this spikes your energy, stop at once and return to simpler anchors like breath or sound. You can pause anytime. There is a subtle form of craving that clings to self-improvement even as you try to sleep. It says, become the better version now. Change completely by morning. Let compassion answer, you can change by resting. You can change by refusing to train the mind with punishment. You can change by offering the precise medicine the system needs at midnight: warmth, permission, simple rhythm, enough. The body already understands this. Listen to how your breathing chooses a quieter tempo when you stop inspecting it. Notice how your eyelids grow heavier when you do not force them. Feel the way your hands uncurl when you decide nothing needs to be held right now. Identity lightens in these details. You are not the keeper of the sun. You are a person in a room with a pillow, and that is enough to belong. Shared night, 30 seconds. If it feels comforting, imagine a few other windows in your city glowing softly with people also learning to rest. Picture their shoulders dropping as yours do. If imagining others feels vulnerable, keep the attention here on the safe ordinary sounds in your room. You may stop any time. A useful phrase for identity lightening comes from a quiet habit. Add for now. Instead of I am anxious, say I feel anxious for now. Instead of I am a mess, say I feel scattered for now. The words loosen the knot, give the present its proper size, and let the next moment arrive without carrying a fixed label. For now, let's reality move. For now, shift 30 to 45 seconds. If it feels right, take one thought about yourself that arrived tonight and add for now to the end of it softly once. Notice the breath that follows. If this feels clumsy or sharp, leave it and return to the physical ease in your body. You can pause anytime. Compassion is also boundary. The kind tone is not an invitation to the inner critic to redecorate your whole house. It is the gentle rake that clears a path for you to walk to bed. If a thought insists, you can answer not now with respect and show it to a chair on the porch. Can wait. You are not abandoning responsibility. You are choosing right timing. Porch seating, 45 seconds. If it feels helpful, picture one persistent thought sitting on a porch chair with a light blanket. You nod to it and close the door with care. If the image frustrates you, skip it and focus instead on the way the sheet meets your shoulder, the temperature at your nostrils, the faint sound of the night. You may stop any time. The 3 strands: reach, push, fog. Quiet more quickly in a compassionate atmosphere. Reach does not have to prove worth by finishing everything now. Push doesn't need to brace when it senses safety. Fog thins when you choose one simple frame without pressure. Compassion is the climate control of the inner house. It makes all the systems work better. If emotion rises while you listen, do not interview it. Keep it company the way you would sit beside someone you love who cannot sleep. You would not explain them into ease. You would sit, breathe, and share the quiet. Offer yourself the same. Companion breath, 45 seconds. If it feels right, imagine the feeling as a small animal curling near your ribs. You do not pet or prod. You breathe in a way that says, I'm here until the morning. If this image is not pleasant, abandon it and simply rest with the most neutral sensation available. You can pause anytime. Identity can also lighten through gratitude, not as a moral chore, but as a simple acknowledgement of support. The bed holds you. The air enters without invoicing you. The dark provides a container for your senses. Someone taught you to breathe more slowly tonight. Perhaps an elder, a teacher, a friend, or your own patient experiments. Gratitude here is not a list. It is the feeling of being part of a net that doesn't require you to grip all night. Netted, 30 seconds. If it feels helpful, on your next exhale imagine being held in a wide, soft net. Nothing to do. If that feels constricting, release it at once and widen back into the room as a whole. You may pause anytime. The last minutes of this hour are for softening even the practice. Let go of doing the techniques correctly. Let go of measuring progress. Let go of hunting for sleep as if it were prey. Compassion says you can be imperfectly human and still worthy of deep rest. Identity lightening says you can be more than a mind that calculates. You can be a body that knows how to settle when given half a chance. Let your face unmask one more degree. Let your shoulders slide one notch deeper into support. Let your breath choose the speed it prefers. Let your attention drift like a small boat released from its mooring, rocking in a safe cove you did not have to design. If thoughts knock, you can answer with the smallest of bows and the simplest of phrases. I see you. We rest now. That is enough. Soon we will close this part and slip into the final stretch of the night together. Before we do, place a quiet blessing in the room, the way one sets a glass of water on a nightstand. May this body be treated gently. May this mind be met with warmth. May this heart find a pace that fits, not as a spell, just as a tone. Then give the room permission to hold you, the bed permission to remember your shape, the breath permission to keep visiting. You are not the pile of rolls resting on the chair. You are the living presence under every roll, capable of kindness even at your tired edges. You are not the harsh review. You are the one who can close the file for the night. You are not the unfinished to-do list. You are the being who can set the basket down and feel the breeze on your face. This is the soft truth compassion offers. This is the spacious truth identity lightning reveals. In this truth, sleep is not far. But even if it takes its time, rest is here now, and it is honest, and it is yours. Let the leaves outside whisper. Let the room keep its quiet shapes. Let your breath move like a tide under a calm moon you do not have to raise. Rest is not earned. It is allowed. Tonight you are allowing it. The room has gone very still. A softer dark gathers near the ceiling, and the air tastes clean and cool. Your cheek finds an easy place on the pillow, and your shoulders sink as if remembering a gentle instruction from long ago. Far away, the city has lowered its voice. The tiny sounds that remain are friendly, fabric shifting, breath moving, an occasional hush from the world outside. You have done enough for today. You have learned the tone of quiet again, and the quiet is learning you. This last stretch is for settling deeply and blessing the night. No more sorting, no more evaluating, only the simplest companionship with your own life. Let the breath come to you like a slow tide you did not order. Let the exhale empty itself without your management, as though gravity lived in your ribcage and knew the way. You do not have to be impressive here. You only have to be. Nights like this teach a softer intelligence. It is the kind that knows when to loosen the knot by half a turn. It is the wisdom that recognizes craving when it reaches and answers with receiving. It feels aversion when it tightens and answers with a kinder protection. It sees confusion when it fogs and answers by simplifying the moment to something workable. These are not theories now. They are ordinary moves your body understands. Exhale first, soften the eyes, let the shoulders fall, choose one anchor, let the rest wait. If a thought knocks with urgency, greet it as you would greet a neighbor you care for at a late hour, warm, clear, brief. I see you. Thank you for trying to help. We can speak in the morning. Then return to the household of your breath. The house has lights you can dim and chairs you can set out on the porch. You are the host. You decide the tone. Final ease ritual, 60 seconds. If it feels right, choose a tiny sequence and repeat it once or twice. Feel the cool at the tip of the nose as air enters. Feel the warm at the lips as air leaves. Notice the weight where your body meets the bed. If attention wanders, return to the first step of cool, the second of warm, the third of weight. If any step feels off, skip it and rest with the one that helps. You can pause or stop at any moment. You may notice the mind checking whether rest is happening fast enough. That is the old reach, the loyal optimizer. Smile inwardly if you can. You have taught it that rest is maintenance, not a prize after performance. If it wants a job, give it a simple, friendly one. Let it count only the exhale to 5 and begin again. Let it listen for the faintest sound and release it. Let it repeat a single pocket phrase like a soft hum beneath the floorboards. There is nothing to pass or fail here. This is human evening, not an exam. Warmth gathers where compassion has been working quietly. The inner critic may still try to show you its spreadsheets. Let it place them on the nightstand and turn off the lamp. You have earned a plain kindness, no conditions. If a part of you whispers that you must hold the whole world up to be worthy, let that part rest its head in your palm for a breath. You are not the skyhook. You are a person in a bed, loved by the simple design of lungs and blankets and gravity. Cradling breath, 45 seconds. If it feels helpful, imagine your inhale as the body receiving a small, warm weight, like a smooth stone placed gently in your hands. Imagine your exhale as the hands lowering and setting the stone down beside you. Repeat once or twice. If imagery is not your friend tonight, drop it and keep only the slow rhythm that calms you. You may stop anytime. Let identity loosen another notch. The fixer can sleep. The performer can sleep. The one who repeats conversations to keep harm away can sleep. The caretaker in you can rest knowing that rest is also care. You are not abandoning anyone by sleeping. You are returning tomorrow with a steadier hand and a quieter voice. There is a great dignity in letting night do its honest work. Now soften your attention until it is more like moonlight than a flashlight. Let it spread evenly over the whole body, not searching, just noticing. If it finds tension, it does not wrestle. It becomes warmer there and moves on. If it finds ease, it lets the ease invite more ease. Where the back meets the mattress, let heaviness grow. Where the breath meets the throat, let smoothness grow. Where the eyes rest under the lids, let dimness grow. Quiet switch, 30 to 45 seconds. If it feels right, imagine a small switch near the back of the tongue. On the next exhale, click it toward quiet by one notch. You are not turning yourself off. You are dimming commentary. If this feels odd, let it go and rest in the felt movement of air. You can pause anytime. Consider how the day carried you. Some parts were rough. Some parts were simple. Through all of it, something steady remained. This breath, this body, this capacity to release a fraction of the grip and find the middle tone again. That steadiness was never far. It is closer now. Let it widen like still water. Thoughts can skim its surface and leave barely a ripple. There is an old kindness in imagining the morning as a trustworthy friend. When that friend arrives, you will talk business together. You will write the note, make the call, choose the boundary, say the apology, offer the thanks. Morning knows how. Night does not have to. Night is the place where you store your courage and oil your hinges and remember you are carried by something larger than your plans. Gate to morning, 45 seconds. If it feels helpful, whisper inwardly, I will meet this in daylight once. Then feel the exhale move all the way down and out, as if it were a key turning a lock. If this stirs anything sharp, release it and rest with the most neutral sensation you can find. You may stop anytime. If sorrow is close, it can sit beside you without words. If fear is close, it can stand in the doorway and watch the room grow softer. You do not have to change them to rest. You only keep them company with humane boundaries. Porch, chair, blanket, breath, weight, sound. The heart trusts this language more than it trusts arguments, especially at this hour. Let go of effort one more degree. You are not trying to stop thinking. You are letting the mind's volume fall to a level where the body's deeper rhythms can be heard. That is all. If a new loop rises, you already know the path. Notice, bow, begin again. The distance back to ease is shorter every time you walk it, like a footpath through grass that becomes clearer with each return. Between breaths, there is a small, natural stillness. It arrives without you reaching. Rest in that stillness as if it were a hammock strung between two trusted trees. Do not hold it. Do not measure it. Let it arrive and pass. Emptiness at this scale is comfort, not loss. It is the space that makes the next breath welcome. 3-beat lull, 60 seconds. If it feels right, let your attention follow this rhythm 3 times. Inhale, arriving. Exhale, releasing. Pause, resting. Whisper the 3 words inside once per cycle if it helps. If the pause feels edgy, skip it and keep only arriving and releasing. If any of this becomes effortful, abandon the rhythm and let your breathing choose for you. You can pause anytime. What remains to be said is simple. May you be met by a night big enough to hold what you carry. May the strand that reaches learn the sweetness of receiving. May the strand that pushes learn the strength of a softer guard. May the strand that fogs learn the relief of one small frame. May your body remember that rest is its oldest language, older than thought, older than worry, older than every name you wear. Blessing for the night, for the room. May it keep what is needed and keep out what is not. For the bed, may it learn your shape again and again. For your breath, may it move at the speed of kindness. For your mind, may it trust that it can stop supervising for a while and nothing essential will be lost. For your heart, may it feel held, not judged. For the day to come, may it find you after sleep the way a friend finds you at the door, smiling already. If your eyes are heavy, let them close fully. If they are already closed, let the muscles around them melt. Let the jaw loosen by a grain. Let the tongue rest low. Let the back of the mouth grow quiet. Let the chest widen on the exhale as if making room for a lantern to dim itself. Let the legs be heavy in a way that tells the earth you trust it. When the mind offers one last negotiation, let your answer be a kindness that ends the meeting. Thank you. We are done for tonight. You can say it once and then let silence do the rest. You have built a porch for your thoughts to sit on and a bed for your body to sleep in. You have chosen the human pace. You have tuned the string to its middle tone. Not too tight, not too loose, just right for surrender. Soon, if not already, sleep will draw a curtain that does not erase you, only rests you. If sleep does not come yet, rest is still here, doing its quiet work behind the scenes. Trust that the way you trust gravity without speech. Trust the way your breath returns without being called. Trust the net of ordinary goodness that holds a person who chooses gentleness when no one is watching. Now let the words fade like a shoreline seen through soft mist. Let breath be the only story you follow. Let the room keep watch. Let the night care for you as you have cared for others. You have arrived at the part where there is nothing more to do. Sleep if it comes. Rest if it does not yet. Either way, you are safe enough to loosen, held enough to release, worthy enough to be quiet. May your dreams be kind. May your morning be clear. May your day remember this tone. Good night, dear friend.